This podcast was originally posted exclusively on Patreon. If you want to support the channel and gain access to additional content just like this, consider going over to patreon.com/coop64, which is linked in the description below. Now, enjoy the episode.
Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. That's Brady. We're talking Uncharted 4 today. The Uncharted 4 in 2025 spoiler cast. We all have played it. Some for the first time, some for the fourth time. So we're excited to be able to finally discuss this. We all played it. I think we all finished it like way back at this point, like at least 2 weeks ago for all of us. If not more. So excited to finally be able to talk about this, but it is early in the morning. It is 8 a.m. Nick, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Today started out with, waking up, getting ready, and I was like Brady. I was sort of up and at it a little bit earlier than I should have been. Like 6:30 is when I actually got up and everything, and then I was just staying in bed and just trying to relax for about an hour before you guys came over, showered up, got going. But this is the situation I was in, Connor. I needed to hydrate. So I got the water, and then I knew that
three things on the table.
Then I knew that it was going to be a long podcast. So I'm like, whenever we got a long podcast, I got to go and make sure that I have a secondary beverage. So normally for casual gaming conversation, I have a Dr. Pepper and water, or some sort of version of soda, water for the full podcast. Yeah, right. Then, without me knowing, before the podcast got set up, I put these two drinks down. Connor, nicely, every single Sunday morning, he gets himself a coffee. He's like, I'm going to bring Nick coffee. It means the world to me. It's very kind of him. I forgot that he got me a coffee. So I put these two beverages down. Before we start, all of a sudden, the third coffee just shows up, the third beverage. And I was just like, that is fucking hysterical.
The concerning part is that you said every Sunday morning, and you're like, without him knowing. It's like he does it every Sunday morning. You had to know that was coming.
That's so true. I knew it was coming, but I didn't I should have had the coffee in my hand before I started pouring other things, but I never registered it. I never had it in my mind being like, I'm going to have a coffee on this podcast also. So now we got the trifecta, Holy Trinity, chalky milk, water, iced coffee. I feel like I've been going and ripping the different air bending and water bending in Avatar right now. The four nations. Brady, how are you doing this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good. Not only is it 8 a.m., but it is 8 a.m. after a 12-hour stream. And not only was it a 12-hour stream, it was a 12-hour stream where we ate Outback for dinner. So,
and it was a 12-hour stream where you just got your teeth kicked in for most of it.
Why are you saying that, Connor?
Who won most of the games?
We kicked his ass in Tekken.
Who won the second most games?
Dude, I was always right there. Very competitive. Very close. Yeah. I was never last.
The start was rough for me, and then the back half was much easier for me. I started kicking it with Crash Team Racing, and then NBA was good. And then
you won Super
Taxi.
Crazy Taxi. And for those who don't know, for those who just watch the podcast and don't participate in any of the streams, we did a retro stream where we played a bunch of different retro games for 12 hours. Great idea from Connor. That was the best thing that Connor did during the stream, okay, was that idea. Because this man kept on losing every fucking game. But I want to give you some credit.
Clowning on you guys for a bunch of them, and then would just fumble the bag at the very end, or you would cheat. Those are the two options.
How would I cheat?
Nick, you were cheating left and right. You were using hacks. We all know it.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Your wins have an asterisk next to them.
Yep.
Nobody believes it. There's no video proof.
Yeah, the VOD is still up for those who want to watch it for that video proof. But it was a great time. We played a bunch of different games. The day started out strong. I won a good majority of them. Then Brady came on strong. But Connor was my heel for a lot of the games that I won. Like Tekken 3, Brady was a non-factor. Mario Super Strikers, Brady was a non-factor. It was Connor and I battling out to see who's going to come out on top. Surely enough, it was me, best gamer at Coop 64, winning the most games. Brady, close second.
Everybody knows, everybody who watches that stream knows that I am better at Super Strikers than you are. Everybody knows it, okay? We all saw the tape. We all can see the footage. I was clowning on you for most of the games. Just because you beat up on Brady a bunch of times doesn't mean that you're better than me.
Either you didn't win your Brady games, which is your fault.
I'm just trying to have fun with Brady, okay? We're trying to have a good time.
Which one are we talking about?
Strikers.
I didn't win any Strikers games except for the one time I was on your team.
Yep. That's it. That's the other part. You couldn't win. You couldn't make Brady with Brady. You couldn't beat me.
How can anyone win with Brady?
I did, Connor.
I was trying so hard not to be grumpy between Tekken 8 and Strikers. Like I was like trying to keep my composure, but I was like having a terrible time because I was losing so much.
Dude,
but then SSX Tricky was right in between those, and it's like, oh,
you can't be sad playing that game.
Yeah.
It is literally just try to smile the entire time. And who was the best Tricky player? This guy.
I was a close second.
Give me more time. I just need more time. I'm an old man, dude. You got 4 years on me. Like my hands aren't moving as fast as they used to, but I need to hone my skills. You just pick it up quicker. That's all I'm saying.
That is true. I do think that to some regard, I pick up games a little bit faster than you, but that's just because I'm a better gamer. But then there's things like Valorant where you clown on me.
Okay.
Nick's still picking up Valorant.
I'm gonna go home and just absolutely full-on training arc montage Super Strikers. So the next time we come to this stream to play Super Strikers, I'm going to clown on all of you.
Extra Life will include Super Strikers.
Yeah.
I'm just letting the people know right now.
It's such
Extra
a good
Life
game.
will only be Super Strikers.
It might be like my favorite stream game that we play. Like, period. Like I just have so much fun playing it.
When it's 2v2s, that's like the key component.
Yeah.
That's when you have the peak amount of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
The setup, the play, get the person in front of the net, pass it, perfect timing into the goal. By God, there's nothing better.
Connor, I'm going to take this podcast to rant a little bit about something in the intro, and so we don't have to do it during casual gaming conversation when we have a draft and everything to do. I get this PC, Connor. I get this super nice PC, like that was taken from the funds from Co-op Day and everything, and like we need it for the future of the channel. It's great. I download one game, download Valorant, okay, and it doesn't work.
It's the Valorant gods.
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about how batshit insane this is?
That's really not even the PC's fault. It's
Valorant.
It's Valorant's fault. It's their
understand.
anti-cheat, like not being able to like certify with your PC or something weird like that.
I understand that. I just need the audience to understand there's going to be somebody out there. There is somebody out there right now that doesn't know about Valorant's anti-cheat, that bought a PC just to play Valorant and is losing their fucking mind because it doesn't just work.
Google
Connor,
is free.
I Googled it. I
tough.
did it, and it didn't change it. Do you know how batshit insane that I sound when I'm like, yeah, I need to BIOS, go into the BIOS of the computer? Yeah. I don't want to do that. I just had a long day. This was right after the Assassin's Creed Shadows preview. I'm having a great time. Brady hits me up. He's like, "Hey Connor, let's play some Valorant." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's play some Valorant."
He
New
hit you
PC.
up and said, "Hey Connor, let's play some Valorant."
I
Yeah.
just call him Connor.
Yeah, sometimes he's like, "Let's play some Valorant," and then it just doesn't work. And my afternoon after working all day, ruined.
How do you think I feel? I lost a whole game of RR because I got in there. It lets you start the game as the thing, and then we got into a game, and then it just says, "You thought."
Yeah,
It'll pop up and be like, "We're backing you out."
Here's the thing, Brady. I did that on purpose. Drop you lower so we can play more games together. Because
I'm gold one already.
Are you serious?
Deep into gold
Damn,
one. Sorry, bud.
that's pretty tough for me.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast you like come back up the ranks once it like full resets. Because like I couldn't play with Jason for a long time, and then I was playing a game on Friday night and booted up, and I was like, should I reach out to Jason? Let's see what rank he is. And I'm plat 3 or plat 1, and no, I'm plat 3, and I go and check his account, and he's plat 1. I'm like, I'm still not gonna ask him. I was like, I want to play alone.
I was
actually.
gold 3 at the end of the season, and it put me back down to bronze 2. But then I like double ranked up twice.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think I've lost every game this season so far. So
Damn.
that's fun. We'll figure it out, Nick. We'll figure out the Valorant PC issue.
I know. So I'm retiring,
No.
and I think PCs are stupid. Okay.
I do think PCs are stupid. I have frustrations with them. There is benefits to them, obviously, like the scalability and like being able to play games at like crazy high frame rates or visuals. Like Cyberpunk looks insane on PC with like a 4080. But it does pissed me off that there's just certain issues constantly that you have to go look up and I go have to figure out. And it's like with the PlayStation, I put the disc in, it works. I download the game, it works. Like
a new PlayStation will let you play Valorant right off the bat.
Right.
Yep. That's what I know. That sounds dumb, but like, can you imagine? Sam hits me up. He's like, "Hey man, I want to play Valorant with you. I hear that's a bunch of fun. What should I get? A PC or a console?" It's like, well, like a PC you're going to have a better time with. He goes and drops. Let's just say to get an entry-level PC, $1,500, $2,000 nowadays to get something that can just, run the games that you want to play. And it just doesn't work. I would throw that thing out my fucking window. Sorry to interrupt you, Connor.
I forgot what I mean, like, what was it?
We were just talking about the disgusting aspect of PCs and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I have the option between PC and PS5 for Black Myth, and was like, I could definitely get better frames and have it look better and everything on PC, but like, it's just like, I don't know, like this is apparently like has like spotty issues on PC. I'm just gonna play on the thing that seems to work like naturally, and it worked fine. Not great performance, but it was okay. Uncharted 4.
I did play on my PS5.
Yes.
Yes.
We all played Uncharted 4, PS5. How long did it take you guys to beat, just off the top of your head?
I couldn't tell you.
I think it took me like 14,
Probably around
15 hours,
I-
but
I-
it felt like
15, 16.
10.
I was about to say it
Same.
might have been 12 for me. I flew through this game.
Didn't touch any of the notes at this point. I've read every single note in the game.
Oh,
I've done
really?
every single side conversation. I have the platinum in this game, so like I just kind of like went for it.
So, but you got the platinum years ago? Still no
2016.
interest to go and get the window dressing and everything?
I mean, like, if there was a pop up for a conversation, I would hit it. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not reading. reading is for nerds. Okay, like I'm not reading these letters. Did you guys read all the letters?
I mean, some of them.
Some of them?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
most of them. I mean, if it was a long letter, I was like, nah.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I
It's
mean,
gotta be
I-
short.
I would get the gist of it and be like, do I really need to read this? Is it important? Because there's a lot of letters, but like,
I've already read all of them,
Yeah.
multiple times because I had played it 3 times before this, and so I didn't really engage like deeply with the additional supplemental information. But yeah, about 12, 14 hours maybe. I feel like it's got to be 14 or 15.
Yeah, that's the
'Cause-
thing where it's like I think it's 12 or something like that, but then I'm in my mind right now calculating my play sessions, and I'm like, okay, I did like 3 hours here, 3 hours here, and I'm around that 14 area.
Oh, good.
no,
Yeah.
I cooked through the game. It like those play sessions go by so quick.
Yeah,
I think the game, I mean, this was The Last of Us, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us Part 2, and I think they all scale up in how long they're supposed to take to beat. So it's like 12 hours for The Last of Us, then like 15 or 16 for Uncharted 4, and then it's like 25 hours for The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
beat that one in 19.
Yeah, I
just
think
not
I
playing
beat it in
games, right?
21.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
did I really did everything in the second playthrough, but I was pretty thorough in my first playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2, and I
think it took
finished
me
in like 21 hours.
23.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just better gamers than everybody else. We're,
Yeah.
I also
we're
like when
hitting
I play.
heads, dude.
It's like when I play most games, I call it The Last of Us. Like the factor. Like I always just like walk around every inch of the room, like looking for something. Like
Yeah.
most games, I'm like I don't even really need to be looking for anything, but I'm just like checking every single inch and corner and drawer, and I do that with every single room, and that's what I do with The Last of Us. And like, I don't know.
Do you understand that adds time or takes away
No, that
time?
adds time.
Yeah.
Like I just go
Did you do that with
slow.
Uncharted? Or
Some,
like it's just,
sometimes I mean there's a lot of like really open areas of Uncharted with like small rooms, and I didn't
Yeah.
do that with
Yeah.
Uncharted necessarily. So
all right, we're gonna just go like section by section of the game is what we discussed on like how we're gonna handle this.
I thought we were
discussion.
rocking overall thoughts first.
Oh yeah, let's do overall thoughts to kick it off real fast.
Yeah, Connor, what's your overall thoughts about Uncharted 4?
Here, I'll tee it up. We all played Uncharted 4 in 2025. Some of us for the first time, some of us for the 4th time. Nick, what is your take on Uncharted 4?
So for Uncharted 4, it's been well established. I've put this game as a masterpiece score. It's one of my 10 out of 10s. It's one of my 9, 10 out of 10s. So it's a weird experience going back to Uncharted 4 in 2025. Like, is this game going to live up to the hype that I gave it back when I first played it, back when I played it back in pandemic? And my answer is 1,000%. This game's fucking unbelievable. It's a masterpiece. It is the greatest action adventure game ever, between characters, world design. The gunplay is extremely fun. It's not perfect, but it's goddamn really fun. This game doesn't have any major set piece moment in it. There's not the train sequence. There's not the airplane sequence from 3. But I think that every single moment in this game is a step below that, but it doesn't let off the gas the entire time. Every single thing you're doing in this game is high octane adventure. I love it. 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
Brady, what do you think?
So it was my first time playing, and walking in here, I was like stuck between a 9.5 and a 10. And we had this conversation earlier. This is your fourth time playing it, so you can be a little more critical. Like you see the little nitty gritty in it, and I'm kind of just seeing it for a whole as my first time. This is by far my favorite Uncharted of all time. Like the storyline and the characters, I know it's the same characters, but I felt way more attached to them and more attached to the storyline than I did the other two. You do have that kind of betrayal like you did in 2, but this one felt like deeper and more real. And I don't know, I just got more attached to it. I don't want to lock in my 10 yet. I kind of want to have this conversation and see how I'm feeling at the end, and see if you guys can point out like things I didn't see, and like get my thoughts rolling a little bit more. There are some issues I had with it, like some sections were a little drawn out, but it still is so cinematic. So it's like I am just going through the motions, but I'm still having a great time while I'm doing it. So I want to see if you want to point out some stuff that I didn't see. I don't think the issues I had can bring it down to that 9.5. Like I really am locked into the 10. I think this is definitely in my top 10 games of all time. So.
Yeah. Coming into this, I love Uncharted 4. I think it is the best Uncharted game still. I think it's up there with 2 and Lost Legacy. I think stand side by side with it. But I still think Uncharted might have like a cap to it for my overall take on it, just due to the tone and like how kind of over the top, and like it lacks some sort of maturity, but I think that Uncharted 4 gets the closest to where I want it to be throughout the entire series. Like there's such a huge step up in just how serious it takes itself while still remaining Uncharted, if that makes sense. So I think this game is like a 9 out of 10. I think the first third of this game, chapters 1 through 8, I think it is incredibly slow. I think I do not think this game gets great until you hit Scotland, and then even Scotland is good, and then Madagascar is great, and then better, and then like by the end I'm like I think you forget about everything in the first third of this game by the time you're at the end. So you look at the whole picture as this is a absolutely excellent game, and I do think it is an absolutely excellent game. But I really think when I was playing chapter 1 through 8, I was like, man, like this really is very slow, and takes its time getting into things. Whereas I think Uncharted 2 just throws you right in, and you go off, and it's the train sequence in the beginning, the flashback, flash forward. I think you have one chapter, the heist chapter, in 2, which I think is incredibly weak. I think it is not very fun to play through that. And then once you get to the forest area in 2, like I think then it's just off to the races, great from there. But here, I think it has a little bit of a problem. I think gunplay is not tight at the start. Okay. Why does it feel like that? Like why did the gun spray? Like you'll have the cursor on the enemy and it will go everywhere. Like it's not.
That's just Uncharted to me. I feel like that's how Uncharted just is. Like it does. Now that you mention it, it does feel a little bit tighter as the game goes on.
The guns later are very precise and feel very good to shoot.
It's odd they say that,
but it should feel good at a base level, whereas like I do not feel like the guns feel fun to play with early on. So especially the machine guns.
That's so odd. I feel like the machine guns and everything, I'm just dialing in my shots where I'm doing like tapping 3-round bursts because the bloom goes super wide. So I'm not having those issues during even the early sections. So it's really interesting that you say that, because I didn't feel that at all when it came to the gunplay.
No,
maybe you're just a stupid stormtrooper.
I will show you guys in the game what I'm the AKs go crazy for some reason.
That's what an AK is. When I think of an AK, I'm like, I'm not dialing shots in right now.
Yeah, it's going everywhere. That's the other part. I do not, in a majority of Uncharted games, if I have a weapon, the odds are I'm using the pistol more so than any other gun. Mm-hmm. Then if I have the shotgun or the sniper, that's what I'm utilizing, because those are like moments, but they have 6 shots or 12 shots or whatever, so it's just bang bang bang, and then I'm tossing it aside, and then I'm going back to a pistol, which is either there's like the micro it's going everywhere or whatever, and so those are the weapons that I like to utilize. So I'm not using the AK too much unless it is like one of the more high octane action sequences that's just like you need to just like spray fire, and in those moments I'm not blaming the gun on the spread of the fire when I'm just cover shooting, blind shooting, just going after it.
Blind shoot.
Oh, it feels so good when you're like just frantically. You have like one of those shotgun guys
Yep.
coming up on you, and he has like the helmet on, and
Yeah.
you're low on health already,
Yep.
so you're just fucking shooting, and you see the helmet come off, and you see that like a stray bullet. Just you get the red 6 lines or whatever,
Yeah.
indicating that you hit a headshot. And you're like, okay, like I'll take it. But that's such a Nathan Drake ass moment.
Yep.
That, like it feels so good. But yeah, I don't get me wrong. I love Uncharted 4. I just think that I see more issues with it this time than I did in the past, and I think a big part of that is just understanding like the whole picture now, like rather than playing through it and getting to the end and having like it be all gas in the last half, that it just erases the first half in your memory almost, where you're like, the whole arc like it brings you along, just kind of helps dampen the blow of what I think is a pretty slow, and not even like in necessarily like an awful way, just a notably slow way in the beginning. So
Quick question for you. So you're saying that you're a little bit lower on this playthrough than previous playthroughs, correct?
yeah, I think so. But I still love it.
Yeah. I'm not. Once again, we all really enjoy this game, to differing degrees, it seems. Like, but we're all within like
Very
a point
similar,
of each other, especially when we're talking about amazing versus masterpiece. Like that's a tough conversation to have in general, and that's where I think more than anything an opinion sort of comes into play, where it's just like, I understand a score of a 9, or even if someone's like, I'm at like an 8.5. If someone's like, this game is like a 7, I would be like, okay, we're having a conversation. But it's 9's fine. Would you after this playthrough, looking back, top 50 series we did, would it move at all?
Maybe a little bit, but not drastically.
Okay.
By any means. Like it's still the best Uncharted game. I like you said, it's still one of the best action adventure games of all time. Period. Like that. I think it needs the respect to be high up on top 50 list for sure.
And then talking overall thoughts, you played a lot of games in your day, obviously. Is there a action adventure game that you think is better than this?
Off the top of my head, not really, but I would need to think.
I
deeper
mean,
about
I
it.
can help you with your own answer. If you want to include things like Resident Evil 4 or even like the grand adventure that is Mass Effect 2, those things.
Mass Effect 2 is way better than Uncharted.
Yeah,
4, but
but-
like that's.
but,
I don't
yeah.
even look at them in the same category.
I just love the simplicity of Uncharted 4. In the age of just skill trees and like open world and like all that thing, and like even just the controls and the fighting and the gunplay, everything is just so simple in this game.
so good.
And I love it.
Yeah,
Dude.
we're gonna glaze the hell out of this game for the rest of the podcast.
I know.
I'm gonna spend the first little bit kind of nitpicking
Yeah.
the first part of the game. Let's just jump into it. Let's just talk about the opening. The you're in the boats. You're with Sam. You don't know who Sam is yet, unless you saw all the trailers that we all saw beforehand. You didn't know about Sam's existence at all?
I knew his existence, but I didn't know like he was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
well, first of all, they don't say he doesn't say he has a brother ever.
Yep.
in
in
Uncharted
1,
until-
2, or 3.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
maybe I did just know that out of my
Yeah.
So a little weird that he just never brings that up over the course of 4 games.
But the reasoning that
including
they
Open Abyss.
do in a couple chapters totally makes sense for me.
I don't know. It hurt me, and I didn't want to talk about it. Like it's like I get it, but like you didn't mention it to Elena.
Connor,
Like,
if you died in a prison 20
true.
years ago, I wouldn't talk about you anymore. You know,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't be worried
no,
about
I
it.
feel like it would be brought up, like in some capacity, like at some point. I don't know. But okay, he has a brother now. Great. You get Troy Baker in there. Did you know it was Troy Baker?
No, I did
Joel.
not.
It's
I did not.
Joel
Cool, but now that
Miller,
you mentioned that, I'm
Booker,
like, that checks out.
and the Joker.
Yeah, they really like Troy Baker over there at Naughty Dog. So how do you feel about that opening sequence in the boats flying down? I think it's very strong. I think it's a very good opening. I don't think it's as strong as 2, or I actually kind of really love 3's opening. The simplicity of like walking into the bar and beating the shit out of
Yep.
people, baby. I like that. It's fun. For that first little bit, but yeah, Nick. how you
When
feeling
we're
about it?
talking about this entire game, I'm going to say many different times, it does not have the highest action set piece in the Uncharted franchise. But like to go and grade, I think that the train sequence, period bar none, might be the best action set piece in any media, including movies, ever. Like I don't know how it gets better than that, because like even we watched Mission Impossible 7, slight spoilers for Mission Impossible 7. There's a train sequence in Mission Impossible 7
Copy Uncharted 2.
that completely
I think I remember
like there's a moment where Tom Cruise is like a train is like dangling and he is like going up and there's shit coming down at him. And I'm like, cool, I saw this 17 years ago because it is like they just fucking nailed it. They knew exactly what they were doing and they nailed it. So I don't think that it is impossible to go and be like, I expect from Uncharted the greatest action sequence ever, because I just don't know if you can legitimately in all of media get better than the opening of Uncharted 2. So to have the opening of Uncharted 4 be high octane, you're going and flying down with these boats towards an island, you're ramming boats left and right, you're picking up a gun, and then surely enough the way that it closes out with the boat getting smoked and then it is Sam screaming out Nathan is once again full fucking chills right now, is fucking awesome. It sets the tone. Once again, we are back in the Uncharted franchise. It's not the best opening, I agree, and I remember playing Uncharted 3 and on Uncharted 2 I love fighting in that game. I love punching people. So Uncharted 3, great way to start out. Love beating up the baddies. But this is just a more fun high adventure than that one was, where like that it felt cool, but not as like scaled up as this one, in my opinion. And so I enjoyed it, not to the highest extent, but I think that once again, when we're talking about the reason I think that this game is a masterpiece is the entire fucking time. I am on rails with this game, loving every single moment of it. It has me by the throat and I'm just on for the ride, and the opening is a large part of that. Brady?
No, I completely agree with everything you just said. If Uncharted knows how to do one thing, it's they know how to kick off a video game.
Yeah.
As soon as I started it, my blood was pumping. I was like, "Oh, I'm in for a treat." And it's funny. I actually have I remember it. I remembered it as you were talking. When I started the game, Jess, my wife, was sitting right behind me on the bed. That's right behind my computer, and she's watching me. And she's like, she got into it too. She was like, "Oh, hit that boat! Watch out! Watch out! There's one coming! You gotta go run to that one!" And it was a great time.
Uncharted 4 might be the best co-op experience, as in like having somebody backseat for you.
It's like a movie, dude.
Laura loves Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And she loved watching it. So
I mean, our father watched me play 4 chapters of this game.
Yeah.
Like, and like, our
awesome.
dad doesn't give a rat's ass about video games, loves to dunk on games, but like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
this game, it does such a good job of you can be on your phone and then all of a sudden it's ba 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 ba, and then Nathan says something funny and like you're on your phone and they're like, that was good, and then you look up and now you're involved.
real quick, I forgot about this at the start. The change in visuals from 3 to 4 and how different Nathan looks, freaky. I don't know if I like it.
Well,
He doesn't even look like Nathan Drake.
What-
in my-
really?
He looks like a completely different person. You could convince somebody that those are two different
I
people.
think that he looks like a very handsome 35-year-old.
I'm not saying he doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he doesn't look like Nathan
him,
Drake.
yeah.
I think he does.
Oh, dude, the visuals, you really can see just that change in visuals
Yeah,
from the
PS3
3 to 4.
But it's,
Yeah,
not
you're
even
like,
almost, it's not even almost like a change in visuals. It's also like a change in like style. Like if that makes sense. Like Drake looks like Drake through 1 through 3 and Golden Abyss. Like that's what Nathan Drake looks like. But he does not look like him.
I totally think he does.
I think Elena looks great. Elena like has like a natural progression. Sully looks like a different person as well. Sully looks crazy.
He
like,
aged too well.
Well, like it looks like it's almost uncanny because we know these characters as a little bit more cartoony from the previous games. That to see them in like hyper realism, it's like seeing like what you would imagine like Ratchet looks like in like a realistic.
Just a cat.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
or like have you seen like the really cursed images of like SpongeBob if it was like real or whatever? It's just like terrifying. It's unnatural that like not everything needs to look super hyper realistic. I know why they do it here, but I could not help but point that out in my head. It's like, who the fuck is that
funny.
guy?
I didn't think about that.
I think it looks great. I don't have the uncanny moment at all. I just don't like that's
I didn't
Drake,
even
and
think about
I
that.
move on.
I remember seeing that first trailer of which ended up being like not even what the game was, of Nate in the with his face in the puddle and like picking up the gun and the skeleton in the cage or whatever.
What do you mean that's not part?
That was
like,
Amy Hennig's game, like that.
Oh, yeah.
They whatever that was and the tone was and the voices in the background, like that's not what the game ended up being.
Yeah.
Which like whether or not they like took little aspects of that, like,
obviously
Neo
they
and
did.
Bruce, like
Yeah.
just totally I think they took the bones of Uncharted 4 and like made their own thing.
Yeah.
But whatever that was, like, was not what Uncharted 4 was. But him getting up, like, I remember the first time seeing it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that was in 2016. I was like, that looks crazy, but it doesn't look like Drake as much as I I don't even know like how to fix this problem. Honestly, it's just something I
didn't even
noticed and pointed
process
out.
that.
The opening, solid, great. Is it? Do you go back in time after this, or do you go to the prison?
I thought.
I think you go back in time. I'm gonna check.
No, it's the prison next. I'm pretty sure.
Is it the prison
You're
next?
swinging around the prison, and then
Oh yeah, you wake up as Drake in the prison
and then
yard and
Sam.
you punch. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then okay, yeah. So we'll go prison next. Swinging around that open area. Where first you do a fisticuff. You fight somebody.
The fighting in this game, once again, Connor and I, like to some regard, I think disagree with certain aspects of this game. I love it. I love the punches. I love the slips. I love the way that this all feels. And what Brady said, I think nails it. This game is basic, but effective. 2 buttons, you're pressing square, you're using triangle once you get pinned down to go and maneuver out of a like hold and then swing back. It feels exactly how I want every game in the future to feel.
The issue is The Last of Us Part 2. Because why is there not a dodge button? There should be a dodge button. There should be a way to...
I wish there was a dodge button.
No, circle just makes you roll.
I know.
Whatever. It's like,
that's
not a dedicated dodge button, but like I want to be able to like, boom, boom, boom. Like, you know what I mean? For audio,
he's not more of a dodge guy. He's more of a take it and then give it back kind of guy.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, there could be a mix of a little bit of both or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I would say Joel is the same way, but I guess there isn't a dodge in The Last of Us, I guess. So, The Last of Us Part 1. So, I think that sequence is cool. Then you go out into the that one like back courtyard area where you're swinging around, getting to Henry Avery's cell at the highest tower in the facility or whatever. It's neat. It's cute. It kind of sets the tone a little bit, or like sets you back into like the feel of Uncharted climbing, which I like Uncharted climbing more than I think most people do. I think a lot of people are like, it's super basic, like it's not fun. I think it is fun to climb. And I think in Uncharted 4, it does a better job of like, you're holding on to something and you have to like kind of move the camera to look around to be like, okay, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go, rather than like it feeling very guided, which I think in other games is like, yellow paint, draw a line from here to there, just follow that or whatever. In this, it's a little bit more natural. So I think this is a fine sequence, but I don't think it's a great sequence by any means. So to open it up with like a solid, really good opening to a very fine, middle of the road, maybe the worst or second worst part of the game. It's all relative, of course, because it's still swinging around in Uncharted. So like worst means something very different than like bad. It's like, okay, yeah, fine.
I think it's kind of, like you said, it's boring. Like you said, they do a good job with like, it is simple, but you do kind of still have to put the thought of it of where exactly I have to go. But I think that part is a necessity to be like, hey, just remember, this is Uncharted. You're climbing, you're swinging, baby. You're back into
grapple and hook.
I was about to say, we are. This was before every game had a grappling hook. We need to remember that. This was before every single fucking game had a grappling hook. And the addition of the grappling hook was so much fun. The going down and getting your ass like absolutely smoked by gravel, like those types of sequences where you're sliding down, jumping, then grapple hook. Fucking awesome.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
Then the entire climbing sequence, like relative to the game, I can understand that this is one of the weaker chapters. I fucking love this entire sequence where it is one, you end with a fun little puzzle, and the puzzle solving is like actually like pretty fun. I enjoy this one. This was one the first time I played, I got stumped on because I didn't know how to add 10 and 2 basically. I was pressing 10 and then I was pressing 2 and it wasn't working. I
did the same thing this time.
Yep.
I was like, what am I supposed to? Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Exactly. And so I'm going in. I think that this entire thing is also beautiful. I was trying to keep track of this because there is a moment where it finally does return. We don't see yellow paint in the game till like chapter 14. Like there's just no, hey, go exactly here.
It's white paint though. Like
it's white, yeah,
like
but
white, like rocks or whatever.
But it also though, like there is a large difference in my opinion between white rocks and yellow paint that is like that feels a little bit unnatural to the world. Where like I can see a building that has been like weathered over years having just like discolor paint and stuff like that.
I am pro the whatever paint you need to guide the player to wherever they need to go, because there's a reason they do that. They play test the hell out of these games, and they're like people are getting stuck on this section and we need to guide them. And it's like, it's just because people are stupid and we are stupid. If they see it over and over and over again, people are getting stuck here. We need to do something to help them through that situation. Then that's just the reality of how you have to make your video game. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
When the audience is getting broader and broader and newer players are coming in, like you have to kind of meet that expectation. So
this entire chapter though, the writing with the guard and all that, I think it's great. It's Nathan Drake being quippy again. The dialogue here is fun. This is something that we don't get, in my opinion, nearly as much in this game compared to the others, because a lot of Drake's lines are a lot more serious and are actually pushing the story forward and pushing the characters into uncomfortable places. But it feels good. It feels so good when this man is making jokes. Like the fact that we're in a world that Marvel and Marvel humor is so on the nose, and it all the time, like we'll see a trailer and it'll be the moment where like somebody's like trying to be like badass, but then it's like trying to make a joke and it doesn't land right. It feels uncomfortable. For somehow, some way, this writing team has made these lines so fucking good that here we are almost a decade later after release, and the lines are still really, really, really funny. And I do think that this is a moment to give that team credit, because once again, this whole podcast, I'm going to be glazing this game. Every single time we get to a new chapter, I'm not going to be talking about negatives, most likely. I will nitpick a couple things. Once again, masterpiece doesn't mean perfect. This game is not perfect. This is one of my lower rated 10s, but goddamn, this is a masterpiece to me. So I did feel like it was necessary to make that call.
Next up, we have prison break sequence. This stuff goes wrong. Rafe kills the guard. They try to get out. You're running through the entire prison, taking corners. Oh, you do fight guys with Sam and Rafe.
Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're fighting together and Sam and you just like boom,
body,
double
body slam.
Oh, it's so good.
It feels so good.
Naturally happen.
When you close the like dryer head on somebody, oh my god!
The environmental like interactions are really cool with the melee.
Once again, it's a step up. It feels great. I know that the fighting in Uncharted 3 is a little bit more involved, has a little bit more technique to it compared to 1 and 2. But like, this is when I'm talking. These types of moments of like super cinematic and just like, it doesn't take the player out of the flow of gameplay, but it like allows there to be a cool moment, is the reason that people look up from their phones and get involved in this game. It is so fucking good and fluid and exciting. And like when we're talking about these sequences overall, I'm going to say it all the time during this podcast, it doesn't reach the highs of other Uncharted games, but like, oh, we're just naturally in chapter 2 having a prison break that feels good and it's fun to play through.
It's fine.
I think it's great.
Like, it's a whole fine sequence, and getting through the prison, like, it's adrenaline inducing, and then of course Sam meets his fate and you get out of there and you slam into the water and the Uncharted 4 title card comes up and it's like, baby, let's go, we're going on an adventure. But like, I think it's solid. I think it's emotional. I think Sam dying in that moment, or dying, it does pack a punch, and especially for Nathan and his reaction to it, I think it's really solid. But I think it's a good sequence. How do you feel about it, Brady?
Yeah, it's just not drawn out either. I think they do a good job of just kind of getting to the point, and it's super tight. And like you said, it is emotional, and that really sets the tone of the game.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, this on Uncharted, out of I've only played 2, 3, and 4. Out of the other 2, it just immediately like tugs at my heartstrings more than the other 2 did.
Right.
And it really, like I said, sets the tone of the game, and it was a good way to get into it.
Nathan running after Sam goes down, and it is like the black screen like coming in to him, like as you can just feel the sadness and anxiety, and like, we've all had moments in our lives where like it almost feels like you're just like out of your body and everything.
Shutting down,
yeah, and just, dude.
And Rafe's like, come on.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, Rafe makes the right call there. He's like, hey, he's dead. You need to get out of here. And
you want to join him?
Yeah, exactly. Great, just line delivery and understanding those characters. And it's also a great introduction to Rafe as the big bad in this game. Of like, is he a bad guy? I mean, he just wants this treasure really, really badly, but he wants to make a name for himself, and that's a large part of it. He didn't have to go and do all this, but he's going to do whatever it takes to go and get the job done. But you even saying like, and then it gets into the title card. The title card sequence in this game, fucking awesome. Like, just the way it all kicks off and really sends you out.
And showing like previous memories from the other games and everything. Really cool. Then your kid Drake. I hate the
Yeah,
sequence.
this
I hate being Kid Drake. They did it in 3 and they do it in 4, and I can't stand it. I like you're just climbing again. You're walking through environments with Sam, and it's good backstory. Like I just wish it was a cutscene, basically. And
you're a Malaysia job before you Kid Drake.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, so really?
Yep. I just
You
have
have that whole
I have the
sequence
chapters up.
where you're like in his house and everything.
No, that's before
No?
in his house. You go.
Oh, really?
I mean, chapter 3 walkthrough starts out with you.
You're
in the water.
One thing with this game is the chapters just flow, and I like.
Yeah.
We're talking chapter by chapter, and I'm like,
I mean,
we're
we can
going
take
section
we
by
can take
section.
this any direction we want.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess let's hop back to the.
No, let's stay on Kid Drake stuff for a bit.
It's fine. I wish it was a cutscene, but also
Same.
I get why it's not. I would never let that happen. Like, they want you to be in the game, in the experience, and like that's just how they do things. You see it in Uncharted 2 when you're walking through the town in Nepal, with Tenzin, and just like kind of experiencing just like the environment. That was like groundbreaking at that point, to expect the player to like stop shooting, stop fucking climbing, and like have high octane moments to just be in the moment or whatever. Like that is not. That was not in video games to that extent, and that really did set the groundwork, because like every game fucking does it now. God of War Ragnarok has like a whole sequence or whatever where you're just like on a elephant going through an entire area or whatever. Like that is very set off by Uncharted 2, and then in The Last of Us it does the same thing, and this it does the same thing. So I get it, but I don't like it. So
yeah, it could be a cutscene or like half the amount of time, and then back to like character design. I just don't like the way Child Drake looks.
He also looks incredibly different than what he does in 3. Like he doesn't look like the same character at all.
I will say, I agree with that point, and that is a nitpick that I have. Is like I do think that him and Sam's design are goofy just in general. I think that this is by far the best we can get with Kid Drake when it comes to these types of sequences, between the gameplay once again being a little bit more of a tutorial moment, even though we had it already in the previous chapter, where it is the sliding and jumping and grapple hook and all these things. But the thing that this chapter does better than those previous times that you are Kid Drake is characters, is the relationship with Sam, starting to understand their dynamic, actually setting the groundwork for like, I feel like understanding childhood dynamics and then adult dynamics are the reasons that you can like actually have a relationship and everything for the previous relationships. I mean, we had Sam on stream yesterday. We are able to be adults and have conversations, but our dynamics are initially set from when I met him when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, and having this moment be Drake and Sam. They're young, but their relationship is just going to balloon up in a more mature way in the future and everything. I love the dynamic that it sets early on of Sam being the protector, but also being way too risky with his brother's life by him. Like, just be like, you can make that jump.
I think it's like needed just to like set the tone of who Sam is, and it's like he's the birth of mischief and like Drake, and it's like you kind of needed to show who he is and like their relationship, and like he's half the reason that Drake is who he is, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. And then you get the reveal at the end of it that they're not Nathan Drake's heirs or whatever. Sir Francis Drake's heirs. Right. They get it from the book. Cassandra is their mom, and that whole sequence is interesting. But like I said, like that's something that I think that's the core of that sequence, is like getting their backstory rather than seeing that relationship bloom. But it does happen over that, and getting a little bit more detail into the brotherhood of them too. So
this playthrough, more than my previous two, I enjoyed the sequence more too, mainly because like I was a little bit more not focused on gameplay aspects, and I was just listening to the dialogue as I'm going through it. And this whole game, I can't overstate how much I love the character dynamics in like without it being a cutscene, without it being even walking up and pressing triangle and having one of those side conversations where it is just like casual conversations. And it doesn't happen all the time, but there's just a couple of moments where I'm just like, yep, this is the elevation from Uncharted 3, which is an amazing game, and Uncharted 2, which is one of the greatest games ever. This is top of the line. Like, I fucking love this shit.
So then going back now, we're going into
the Malaysia job.
Nathan Drake's day job. He's a diver, and he helps get salvage and stuff, which makes sense for if Nate was gonna settle down, like he would do something a little bit adventurous. So it's good stuff.
I do want to throw this out there. He's not a full-time diver. Like, he even brings up the fact that, like, he's like, it's a good day. Like, any day that I'm not doing, like, paperwork and bullshit, I'm able to go for a swim is a good day. Where it's like, damn, like, at your best, you're just, like, this is, like, the best it gets for the day job is going out for a swim and, like, getting the scuba suit on. Most of the time, you're not doing that all the time. And that's an interesting aspect to be like, okay, like, you're going to try and get permits. Like, the discussion of getting permits in Nathan Drake is a hysterical notion because you're like, this man murdered 85,000 people in the first 3 games, and now he's worried about permits? like, what are we doing here? It's fucking awesome. And once again, what character and world design. The gameplay in this moment is has one thing that I really enjoy, and the rest of it is, in my opinion, the weakest part of this the game. When you grab a cable and you have to actually go and wrap it around compared to like walking up to a post and then just like pressing triangle and it doing it for you, I love.
Yeah.
Because it
It's simple.
Love.
Connor, this is the best game. This is the best goddamn gameplay mechanic of all time.
Okay.
No, but I do think that this is part of the reasons that like I don't love Uncharted 2 and 3 is it's so on rails. It is so holding your hand when it comes to just any small gameplay aspect. Like, it is trying to go and be like, hey, we understand that you're playing Uncharted. We're not going to make it too difficult for you. Like, this is going to be a fun story, a very general story. Anyone can play these games. But for this moment, it's happened every time I've played it. I go and I'm just like, I walk up to the post and I get ready to press triangle and it doesn't work. And it's like, okay, oh yeah, I need to go and actually wrap it around myself and then press triangle and it works. And I'm like, that's gameplay, baby. I know it sounds dumb. I know it sounds really stupid, but I do actually really enjoy that aspect. The rest of it between diving and picking up boxes, I can do without, but I like this for story's sake, and it does have a gameplay feature that I do enjoy.
With the rope situation, it's really difficult to get that to work, like physics wise in a game engine apparently, and they did bring it back in The Last of Us Part 2 with the rope and like there's the rope and then there's like the power cables for like generators, and like throwing it over something and having it interact with the environment can like apparently go really wrong really fast or whatever. So for them to get that to work, they're like, we're gonna do this 10 times this game or whatever, and then we're gonna do it in the next game.
We figured it out.
Yeah, winch, let's go. So yeah, I think it's another cute sequence of like Nathan Drake living his normal life, and then you go back to your home with Elena, and you're in the attic, and you're peeling over your past adventures. I think that's another cool, just environmental, slow sequence. And the sequence, did you pick up the gun and shoot the...
I did it for way too long. Yeah.
Cool, cute. Go downstairs. Crash Bandicoot.
This is where I need to call timeout, because when you said the first third of this game, in like you paused initially when you were doing your overview, you're like, is the worst third in this game and everything. I once again, masterpiece. I love all this. I think that I can make an argument that the first third of this game is the best part of Uncharted's entire history.
Crazy.
And
Dude, like you don't even get the full gameplay loop until you get to Scotland.
I understand, but I've had the gameplay loop in Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3.
You got to take the game as the game.
No, but what they're giving me is different. They're giving me character moments.
Spread it out then.
I understand. But they do. The rest of the game has those character moments throughout it with the gameplay in it. But they needed to, in my opinion, set the baseline for what this game was and show that this is going to be different than Uncharted 1 through 4 or 1 through 3. And it does so with the first third being like, hey, we are going to not have crazy sequences. I mean, except for a insane boat sequence and breaking out of a prison, which is awesome. You literally
don't shoot a gun again until the Sam sequence. And even then, it's like very basic cover shooting. It's not the same sequence where it's not the swinging and the sliding and the crazy environmental design. Like, I will touch more on this as we get deeper in. The battlefield design in this, how interwoven and fucking on top of itself and crazy it is, I don't know how they did it. Like, but it's all funneling you towards like a one location. Like when you're looking at some of these from like a bird's eye view or from like all the way back, you're like, what the fuck? Like, how did they come up with this design? But it all works and is so intuitive and so good.
It gives you so many like options on what to do. Like I would clear areas and then I would like start moving forward and I'd be like, wow, I could have just jumped up there and swung around. And I could have gone up here. I could have gone around. I'm like, holy shit.
In most like games, when it comes to like the battlefields or like the environments where you're in combat, it's very like jagged. It's like, okay, half wall here, then another half wall a few steps forward, maybe like a full wall with like boxes here. In the environments in Uncharted 4, like it's like this like winding like pillar with like multiple areas that you can latch onto, and then like you can like swing from that into like a building, and like it, but it all is like on the edge of a cliff on this side of the environment. It's like, holy shit, like this is really good. So that's something I really noticed in this game, in this playthrough, where I was like, I really respect the layout, the level design is just like unreal.
It is the only word to use is masterful.
But when you think of that and then you look at the prison sequence, you're like, okay, like this is not even close. Like,
this is a lot more just trying to push you forward. But once again,
So real quick, let's get back to Elena and Drake playing Crash Bandicoot. Such a cute, fun surprise. If you're a big video game fan, if you're a fan of Naughty Dog history, it's a really great treat to have that in the game.
But I brought this up with you on a side conversation. I haven't talked to you about this yet. The fact that it is Crash Bandicoot and it's the running towards the camera sequences, like seeing that as natural evolution through Naughty Dog's entire history, to still have later when you have a chase sequence with the giant mortar truck that's coming after you with the gun on top, and it be another run towards sequence. Like, I laughed a little bit during that sequence because I was like, they already gave us this, but it was Crash Bandicoot.
Is there one in 3? Because there's one in 2 when you're in Nepal and you're shooting behind you or whatever. Like that's another run towards the camera sequence. There's got to be one in 3.
I mean, that's it. Almost feels like that with those games that they're just like, we need to give Crash Bandicoot some goddamn respect, and that's how they do it nowadays.
It's funny because I expected the whole running towards the camera sequence in this game a little bit more because I had played 2 and 3, but I remember the first time it hit me in 2, I just like, you start turning around like running
you start running towards the
wrong way. You're like, it breaks your brain a little bit, but then once you expect it's not so bad.
I love Elena and Nate's relationship in this. It feels like a very natural evolution from where you leave off in 3, and this sequence is very pleasant, very nice to get this moment with these characters. I just, once again, like when it comes to pacing, like it feels weird because you haven't done anything for like at this point you haven't done anything for like 3-4 hours of consequence.
Well, 3-4 hours. You're talking about also Kid Drake is in there. I mean, I once again, I will trade because we get it later. I will trade early on the action, crazy set piece moments or just like core gameplay mechanics for character development to fill out what the base of this game is. And like I said earlier, we are changing what Uncharted is. This game forever changed what Uncharted is. Lost Legacy is such a beautiful evolution to the Uncharted formula because even the treasure has like some stake and personality to it that is like, it feels personal. It feels right with those characters. This is saying this entire adventure is not about the treasure literally at all. And I think that is like the best part of it. The fact that it is like, we're connected to this treasure and like it is family based, but this is Drake going and being like, what is my life purpose? Like, we're talking about a treasure hunter that it wants 85,972 people, like, murdered in these previous games. For it to be about his life purpose, we need moments like him and Sam being kids and understanding their dynamics. We need moments like him and Elena on the couch understanding their dynamics to allow for certain gut punches later in this game. Like, the entire storytelling process for this game, I can just see Neil being like, we're going to slow this thing down. So then when we go and have the high octane action later on, we can have cutscenes and character dynamics that are going to feel so fucking good as they pay off. And it's all set up in these first few chapters.
I mean, like, I agree with both of you in a way. Like, I do think it's a necessity to build the characters, and like, you kind of need this at the start of the game, but they do need to spread it out, sprinkle in some of the action in there, and then also they could cut some, like I said, cut some of these in half. Like,
and it's not just the start of the game; it's like the first third of the game. Is what we're talking about. Like, this is a long stretch between like the opening and getting the full suite.
I mean,
the full Uncharted experience.
we're
So we're going to Kid Drake. We just talked about that. And then after that, we go to the heist. Right?
I think that's nice. Yeah.
Which I think of the high octane sequences until the very end when you slam through that window in the
back it up a little bit. Like
no. You're going to go. What do you mean?
Before we even get to the heist, there is Sam gets introduced back into this entire story.
Okay, yes.
Well,
we kind of touched on that already.
The
So
yeah.
I just skip right.
Yeah.
The prison break sequence with Sam and
Hector Alcazar.
Yes, thank you. I think it's cool. I think it like
It's the chapter name. That's the only reason I was able to get that pull.
it is really quite engaging. But it's still, like I said, it doesn't give you that full Uncharted suite of running, jumping, swinging, sliding, shooting. Like it's very just a basic cover shooter.
This is a level. You were playing a straight up level. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, are we still talking about when Sam gets reintroduced
Yeah,
when he
no,
knocks
that's-
on the door when
yeah,
he's sitting in the
I
office?
wanna talk about
This
that
is
too.
like one of the that part is
Yeah.
kind of what I'm thinking about where Drake's just in the office stamping through the papers, doing his desk job, and then the knock comes on that door. And this is like one of the parts that kind of sets Uncharted 4 apart from the other ones that kind of has those like heartstring moments. It's like, who's knocking on that door? Is it Sully? Like who the fuck could it be? And then like you open the door and you're like, no shit, you ate 10 bullets in your back and you fell 50 feet and you're alive? You're like, what the hell?
If you don't see them take their last breath, they're alive.
That's every media ever.
I've learned two things from video games and Game of Thrones. If you don't watch them take their last breath, they're alive. And even Game of Thrones kind of stretches that out.
So yeah, I think I would you guys choose for the three options when you first talk to Sam and he's like, what do you want to talk about first?
I don't even remember, to be honest.
So I would almost, this is my third time going to this game. First two times I choose Uncharted 2's adventure.
Of course.
This time chose Uncharted 1's.
Nice.
I was like, let's start at the beginning.
I think I did go Uncharted 2.
Yeah, same.
You gotta go Uncharted 2.
Just because it's like, that's my second favorite Uncharted.
Right.
At the time it was my favorite. So
Yeah.
I'm like, we're going to hit this up.
So then you do a job with Sam and Sully. You need to get another piece from the other cross from the prison that you were. Or there was a duplicate cross that you're going to an auction.
And that's where Rafe kind of comes back into the mix.
Once again, backing up a little bit. Him lying to Elena in this moment after all the building that we just had about him living his normal life, and then immediately it is, hey, Jefferson just came in with the papers. We got the job. Oh, great! I'm going away for a bit. Like immediately, I've learned in my later life, like ever since I've been like 21ish, I can't lie for shit about big things. I can go and tell Connor he looks great all the time, but like I can't lie about the major stuff, right? I'm kidding. I love you. This is like that him like saying that made my skin crawl because I'm like, I can't do it. Like I can't personally. I'm out of the game when it comes to like lying to the people that are really close to me that I love. And surely enough, him just saying that, I'm like, why? Like it is in a very very different way. The Last of Us 2 question of like, why are you doing this? Like stop. Like just be happy. Like you are happy right now. Just be fucking happy.
They give a really good reason though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh well, they do give a good reason, but also you could have. He didn't have to go on the adventure. He had to go on the adventure. He didn't have to lie. And
the game would be a lot more boring if he didn't lie, obviously. But like, even before that, I do want to touch on the moment when you're kind of going through those stories, and he's like, it really like testifies to who Drake is because he's like ripping through these stories, and he gets to the end, and he's like, Elaine, oh yeah, I'm married, oh yeah, and then you're like, this guy's like setting the tone for what's about to happen.
It's who he is as a character. It is understanding who he is, what his life purpose is, and what's actually important to him, which is like the reason he lied is he doesn't care like he as much as he should about his wife and his day job and his safety and all honestly, part of it is like her not worrying and everything. Like
It's also just typical man stuff, dude.
Yeah,
It's just
this guy being a dude, just the boys.
You could just explain
Yeah.
it to her and be like, it is the funny thing where they kind of just introduce Sam, and then it's like you got to be like, oh yeah, hey, I have a brother, and
Yep.
also this is happening. Would be a crazy conversation, but yeah.
Okay. The auction, the heist. Are we good?
This is gonna happen 1,000
no,
times.
yes,
this
we're
podcast
good.
is gonna be 7 hours.
So I still don't think that the game like fully opens up or it gets. I think the moment this game smashes into being a excellent video game is when you slam through that when you get thrown out the window by Nadine and you swing around into it and you fly through the window and Sam's there. He's like, "Oh, Nate, okay." Like I think that shit's great. But before that, climbing, more just getting from point A to point B, which you've already done a lot of at this point. So once again, I think you're just kind of going through the motions, getting to the point where the game is really fully getting started on chapter 7.
Yeah, you like
chapter
start out
6
at
to
the
7.
top of the hill, like looking over, like waiting for Sully to flicker that light, and you're like looking at this mansion, and you're like pretty far away, and they're like, "All right, we need to get there," and you're just like,
Okay,
so that's a hike, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so chapter 6 is the first half of the heist. Chapter 7 is lights out, where it kicks off after the cross goes.
And you get introduced to some like stealth mechanics once the lights go out, and I think that's cool and fun. But
Sam's even like, "I think we should have brought guns," and you're like, "Well, I don't even got a gun, so I'm hiking."
Well, in my opinion, the reasoning behind that is him being like still in the mode of like, it's all gonna work out well. I'm done killing senselessly. I'm done being the bad guy. We're not doing guns. And then surely enough. But I think that there's like, once again, we're trading away fun, high octane action in these early moments for gameplay. I will say, chapter 6, the climbing, the moving the wine barrels is the slowest this game gets. Still, I'm having having some level of fun with it. 2, I think the overarching thing of what we're doing is cool. Which like the rule of cool is totally in play here, where it's like, hey man, we're going to a high, like bitter, like all these people are probably pretty evil, secret auction in just a cool area, and we need to break in and steal it. And oh well, we're gonna go and try to nope. Now we got to turn the lights off, and like everything that's happening from a story perspective, once again, is the thing that can get somebody to look up and be like, oh, what's happening here? Like it is legitimately just cool. When it comes to the gameplay mechanics, this is the least fun I have in the entire game.
Really? I mean, with the whole no gun thing and the kind of hiking thing, it kind of also sets the tone for Sam being like the devil on Drake's shoulder, just being like, why don't we just go in there guns blazing and like do this? And Drake's like, no, I'm past
gotta
that.
do it
like you
right.
said. Yeah.
So yeah, I fully agree that I think this is a weaker sequence, but I think in concept, a auction heist is a very cool, interesting idea. And I think there was story moments that I think is great, like Sully running into Nadine and Rafe and having that back and forth is interesting. And then like Rafe like totally crashes out like in front of everybody. And then there's the whole back and forth with the bidding with Sully to buy them more time.
Dude, I love Sully.
that.
Sully's just like, he's got that swagger. Dude.
Yeah, dude, he's the best. Sully's awesome. And then you fight Nadine as well in that library, which was we saw that at Game Awards. That was like the second time we saw like gameplay of it, which is interesting. I'm
sorry, I wanted to hop in though. This is the final moment before we go off in the entire adventure, where it is setting up the chessboard of the characters that we're going to be dealing with the entire time, and I love it. I like it is now. You've talked about like the first third of this game, or it's first fourth of this game being the slow. Okay, let's talk. Let's hang out a little bit. Let's like get in the pocket of what this game is actually going to be. But through the Sully interactions, through like the earpiece interactions of like, oh shit, Nadine's here. It's like no, Rafe's here. Fuck. Like what? How are we gonna manage all this? Allows for the rest of the game to be no breaks. You are going the entire time until the 2 different gut punches in this game. And there's such good gut punches because you're just like, it's all momentum from here, baby. We're going to just go. So I love it.
We'll get there. Yes.
So I think it finally you crash through that window after Nadine throws you out. High octane once again. The fucking bullets are flying. You're fighting against Nadine's private army shoreline. It's cool. It's awesome. You hop in the car. You get the fuck out. You're going to your next location in Scotland with Sam and Nate and Sully. I like the conversation between Sam and Sully when Nate goes out onto the balcony to talk to Elena of like they do not like each other.
Yeah.
Sam and Sully do not like each other, and Sully is like, I need to be there for Nathan because or else he's gonna get himself killed. And I don't want to do this. I know this is bad for him, but I'm gonna be there anyways, and I love that. I think that really highlights their entire relationship throughout the entire series. I think that is one of the best moments of the game for sure, is that dynamic between Sam and Sully in that conversation.
Like I said, Sam's like that devil on Drake's shoulder, and Sully's like that angel.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
It's so good. This whole thing of why they're actually going through the story is. I fucking love this game so much.
But
I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, but if you're somebody who doesn't like the slowness of these first few chapters, and like I understand the reasoning for why they're doing it and why they're setting up the different chess pieces onto the board and how they're reintroducing you into this world, and you're getting a new character with Sam, and the relationship between Nathan and Elena is completely different now, so we have to introduce that, and Nathan's in a completely different part of his life, so we need to do that. We got to get backstory for Kid Drake as well. We got to do that or whatever. But like the game does not start fully until chapter 8, which is crazy. That is a long run up.
Hey, chapter 7. Chapter 7 is lights out, and
I don't think that's full gameplay yet. It is introducing you to stealth.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then you're picking up pistols at, like throughout a little bit in that or whatever. But by the time you crash into that window and you get a machine gun and a pistol, and you have like a little bit more of the full sequence. You still don't have sliding and swinging until you get to Scotland. So like it just irks me a little bit. What we're talking about here though is still better than like 70% of video games anyways. Even bad Uncharted is good. Is a good video game, you know what I mean? So like I think it's weaker, but it's still, like you said, necessary in a lot of ways to set up what we're going to go on for the rest of the journey, which is one hell of a ride from here.
For me, you use the word necessary. I am eating all the shit up like ice cream. Like I fucking love all of this.
So we go off to Scotland with Sam, and Sully's hanging out in the plane, waiting for you guys to get back. You're running the shoreline again. They're just blowing shit up with dynamite left and right, to like tearing apart.
We're in Scotland.
These grave sites and everything.
You're like, they don't care.
And this is where like you have your climbing sequences. You have your full on stealth / if something goes wrong, gunfight sequences. You have your puzzle sequences, like
the gravel sliding, dude.
Exactly. You have the conversational parts where you can press triangle and have more conversations with Sam. Like everything comes together. One thing I would like to say about video games in general, and Uncharted does it like maybe worse than anybody else. I don't want to move a fucking crate. Stop making me move crates. It's to slow the game down to like stretch it out a little bit more. But like, god damn, it's not fun.
This is, in my opinion, 2016, it's acceptable game design. When this happens in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in Chapter 1, it's not a spoiler.
Well,
I legitimately was like, we're doing this in 2024?
Yeah.
We're doing this in 2024? This game is long as fuck already. We're doing this in 2024?
That's funny.
I lost my fucking mind. This totally acceptable to me. It is like that we're two different eras of gameplay design and everything, and they do it, I feel like, less in this game than in previous titles. They do give a couple more of the hey, like grab my hand like moments where, or hey, I'm gonna push this crate down for then you to jump on it to then do a fun gameplay sequence where you're climbing and grappling and everything.
You get the nades. Why did they take out throwing the nades back? There
What do
must
you
be
mean?
like some gameplay reason.
Oh.
You
I
can't throw
don't know.
nades back. You can throw nades back in 3, and
I was wondering.
very
that.
sad.
I thought I just sucked, but I was like, am I just not getting this?
That is funny, but it doesn't start out, I don't think I picked up an 8 before this. It's the TNT first.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, in my opinion, is I'm like,
it's cool.
I like that, like, there's not just 1,000 grenades just laying around. It is like, oh no, there's blown up like these different areas, so they have a shit ton of TNT laying around. Story reason for it. Let's keep it going and have fun.
Real quick before we get off like the pacing stuff, because we're about to just glaze the hell out of this game for the rest of the this is why I am conflicted about Uncharted 4 versus Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy has insane pacing. It is 8 hours of all killer, no filler, gets you into the action, set piece, set piece, set piece. There is better set pieces in Lost Legacy than there is in Uncharted 4. There is. Like,
Connor, why do you not love Miles Morales more? It makes no sense to me. He literally just said the reason that I like Miles Morales more than I like Spider-Man 1 and 2. He's like, yeah, it gets you, it's all kill, no filler. Set piece, set piece, set piece. And I'm just like, come on.
But the stuff in Miles Morales, the set pieces, the story, the characters broadly speaking, like I love Miles and I love that dynamic with his mom and like the main villain in the game. Like I think there's interesting aspects in Miles Morales, but I way prefer the story and just the general feel of Spider-Man 1 and also the novelty of it. Just because it's a shorter game doesn't automatically mean like, oh, it just has better pacing because it's shorter and a more compact title. You know what I mean? You can have a short game that feels like it goes on forever.
I know, but Miles Morales doesn't. It feels short and tight and amazing.
But
in
it's
the same
still
way.
not that good of a game, just generally speaking. Like it's an 8 out of 10. It's a great video game. But it is just another.
We need. I'm going to schedule this for next week because I want to push bonus pod or something was supposed to be us predicting PlayStation 5's rest of the cycle. I want to do it after State of Play at this point because like State of Play seems to be close. Might as well just wait and get a couple more answers in before we do that podcast. I want a PS5 bracket. I want to do it at this point. Okay. Let's do PS5 games. Let's get a bracket going because things like Miles Morales need to go.
That's a first rounder. That's a first
exactly.
round exit. For sure.
For me, Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank for this generation of video games.
It better pray it gets put up against a 16 seed or something.
Like are two of the best. And I think it's important. Compact. Hey, you're spending for Miles' sake $50. I think Ratchet was probably not 70. It might have been 60 or 70.
What are we talking about?
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh,
70.
Yeah, I know. I think it was 60.
Yeah, I could see it being 60.
I think you were talking about Lost Legacy, which is also 50.
Forward. Oh, was it 50?
It might be 40.
I think it was 40 back in the day when they for 60. It was $20 off for market price. But like I fucking love these like shorter games. We need to. I'm gonna move our schedule around. We're gonna make this happen for sure because like it just. I'm at the point that you and I think are on two different wavelengths when it comes to this entire generation of what we like about this generation.
Yeah, I think you put that to a poll for the audience. Just prediction against most games for PS5 exclusives or.
Brady named a PS5 game exclusive.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart way better than
Miles Morales. I agree.
Returnal way better than Miles Morales. Demon's Souls way better than Miles Morales.
What do you give Demon's Souls out of 10?
Like a 9.
Okay. Miles Morales is a 9 for me. I think Miles Morales is an amazing video game. If when you did
do you
top
think it's
50,
better or worse than Spider-Man 2?
Guys,
I think that it is
Uncharted.
Brady, this podcast is going to be 7 hours.
No, please go on.
But I think that Miles Morales is a 9. So I'm just comparing around that number.
But The Lost Legacy has a fucking perfect pacing, and I think I'm going to go home and just boot it up.
Just do it. Brady, are you going to do that? Lost Legacy?
Might as well. I guess. Got it waiting for me. It's download.
It's awesome, dude. It's so good.
What's next for you now that this is done? Is it Cyberpunk?
I don't know. I booted up Cyberpunk. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. So we'll see.
It is really weird because we're in a weird spot right now where it feels like review season's kicking off. Like we talked about February being batshit insane for a long time at this point. Mm-hmm. February is a week away. And then you throw in like something like a State of Play in there. There's going to be a lot of happenings with Co-op 64 stuff that is going to pull us away from games. So it does feel weird. Like I'm playing Ghost. Played some Ghost after you guys left last night for like 30 minutes. And then I was like, I just could not keep my eyes open. Not because Ghost was boring. We just had a long fucking day. Mm-hmm. But it's like, okay, I feel like I need to beat Ghost in like a week or so, or else like I'm going to get hit. Like our inbox is going to get hit with the code for something. And I'll be like, fuck, like, I guess I'm heading off this now.
This time is flying by.
I'm telling you, that's why I say Nick's not going to be Ghost. We're about to get too busy. And
it's the Connor effect.
It's going to go on.
This, man. If he keeps saying it, I'm going to beat him up, man.
He's right either way.
It's going to go into the back burner because there's going to be too many games to play otherwise. And then when are you going to play it? Like in June?
Well, we don't even know if like Yote is like its own story or like it's definitely its own story.
It's totally its own story. So, but I'm gonna play Ghost. I gotta play Ghost of Tsushima before Yote.
November.
Yeah,
October.
September at the earliest.
Yeah. So now we are in Scotland. I love the full gameplay sequence, the full kit being there for you. There is no better feeling. There is no better feeling in video games.
Oh, I thought
than
he's just saying,
fucking swinging and boom, just punching into somebody feels so good, dude. It's like I'll go out of my way to do it.
Or like drop it
dude,
down on
I'll
top
take
of it.
more fucking shots just so I can fucking swing and punch a guy in the face.
Connor, I
Amen,
completely agree. That me and Brady had a moment where we looked at each other. You go, there's no better feeling than fucking. And then you just paused. I'm like, the audio listener, just a heads up. He went and physically showed that he punched down on someone. He didn't say there's no better feeling than fucking. Okay, just
End
to
of
clarify.
So, and then you're doing the puzzle sequences as well for the Henry Avery grave and like the water bucket filling. I think the puzzles in this game are perfect.
Yeah,
for
me
the
too.
most part.
I
Like,
think the perfect
they-
amount of difficulty
right.
and like
they tickle something a
enjoyability.
little bit, but like they don't make you go crazy. They don't make you super confused. Enjoy it. So yeah.
This game now it's been dethroned though. It has the second best puzzles in video games now, behind Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
I would never consider the puzzles in this game to be one of the greats or anything
No,
like
serious.
that.
I think that this game puzzles because it is not the core mechanic. This is not like it's one of the pillars of like gameplays that they're trying to go after,
Right.
but it's not like a puzzle game by any means. No one looks at Uncharted and says puzzles, but the puzzles that they're doing, the frustration that I've had with certain Uncharted puzzles, where like there's not too many climbing puzzles in this game where it is like go climb up this thing and then go and like the only one in this game is ringing the bell. I feel like in the tower sequence later on, whereas like Uncharted 2, the dagger sequence where you're going and climbing up the giant dagger and trying to get the
Love that
lights.
sequence.
I think that it's just a little too long and like not because it's so large, it's a little bit like unfun. Like when it comes to
I
the
love
scaling.
that. It feels so cool
It
to like,
is-
be up that high
It
in
is.
this massive like area. Like I don't know.
We've
like,
not talked about this nearly enough. There are so many moments where this game loves to go and take that fucking camera and go wide. Pull.
Oh yeah,
it-
I love it though. Like when you're on
it's
a wall, the
yeah.
side of a wall, it's just like
It just shows like it's just
I
like
love
you are
it.
just a person and this is way bigger than you, and then it dials back into the focus of Drake, and like
love
the
it.
game direction here is so fucking good in those moments. 7 out of 10.
You love this game. That was so fun. Yeah, I do have to say, when I first beat this game, they both had beat it. Nick beat it right before me. Connor beat it a little earlier on, and I texted him like, "Beat Uncharted 4, great game, 7 out of 10." Wouldn't change a thing.
I do think this like I said, I think the game just gets better and better.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad to be in the full swing of things in Scotland. I like the story sequences. I like all the different pieces in play. I still think it is a weaker section of the ones that we get later, but it's still really solid. I'm glad to be here finally.
You're getting the ball rolling.
Yes.
We're
So
getting
do
closer.
we have anything else we want to talk about with Scotland? We're going to Madagascar next.
Oh, we're going. We did cook through Scotland. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I think we did hit all the major points.
I
This
think
is where I still think the gunplay feels weird to me. Where
Oh,
it's,
okay.
why
Yeah,
does it
this
just
is like the
not
start of it.
feel as
Um,
punchy as I want it to, like with the shooting? And I think this is rectified when you get better guns in Madagascar.
I do want to shout out. We've talked about how like there's been some more linear sections in the game thus far when it comes to core gameplay when you are shooting and running and jumping and all that. This is, in my opinion, the entryway. It's sort of like getting the player more used to the fact that by the time we get later in the game, when it comes to level design, the level design is off the fucking rails between verticality and everything. I feel like this is more of a like not lesser version, but it's not as batshit insane and as wide as some of the later gameplay sections.
I know what you say. It, like when you're dropping that bridge and stuff with Sully like hanging out on the other side in Scotland. You know what I'm talking about?
No, not off the top of my head.
You're
Dropping
like,
it for Sully?
you're no. Isn't it Sully or Sam?
Yeah.
Well,
You
Sully's
pull the
been
car
playing
up and
this
then you have
entire
to like
section.
climb up to the top of the tower and you're like trying to like get this bridge down so you can get to the other side.
Wait,
Are
are
you
you
talking
talking-
about Madagascar?
Oh, is that
Yeah,
Madagascar?
that's Madagascar.
Okay, then let's move on to Madagascar. 'Cause I got that mixed up with
The
Scotland.
last thing I
Okay.
do want to say is this game does do because you really just stay in a tropical setting after after the sequence. I think between the high sequence and then getting just like going to have a snow like Alps sequence is cool to go to those different environments, play with those different settings, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I wouldn't consider Madagascar to be tropical.
Yeah,
It's warm.
warm.
Tomato,
Okay,
tomato.
we're going to Madagascar. We're in a Jeep. Car is a big part of this game. When they were releasing this game, they were like, we want the car to be a character, basically. Like, you want to feel attached to the car. So you're going to Madagascar. You're going to a wide open sequence, not open world by any means, but this is something that Naughty Dog seems to be obsessed with at this point since Uncharted 4, which I guess we only got 2 games since then, or Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us Part 2, where they funnel you into an area and then it goes real wide and you have some optional stuff to do in there, but then it funnels you back into a linear sequence. And I think this stuff is fun. I like that there's optional areas to go fight some more guys, go get some more additional notes to get more story, find some treasures. Cool. I think that this whole sequence and this whole area is really fun to explore and just kind of be in. The wench is the star of the show.
I love it. I love this
It
thing.
goes back
I
to
love
rapping
it.
around.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's basic. I fucking love it.
I didn't utilize, like, I didn't really do too much with like going to do extra shit. I kind of was like, where do I need to go? It does make you think about it a little bit, and you kind of are not like forced, but you do stumble upon other stuff. I did hop off and like climb up some towers and find some stuff.
It's crazy how it just naturally, like, you have to think, but like it's so intuitive that like somehow it is always pointing you towards that next direction.
That is, in my opinion, arguably the most impressive part of this entire game. Like, when I'm talking about just like, I don't know how they do it, but every single time you can be fighting 25 people, and then all of a sudden it almost like naturally is just like, all right, we get back in the car and we're just going to the right direction again. And the fact that, like, you brought it up earlier when it comes to like play testers and everything, we are dumb. It is hard to make a game that is this intuitive, but they fucking did in every single time. I didn't get lost once. And when you were talking about 2016, where sure, open world games exist, but there are markers to show you where to go. The fact that it's like, nope, we're going to just drop the UI, go and drive throughout Madagascar, and it all is the right direction is ridiculous. Like, it just works.
We are dumb, and they do like such a good job of like making you feel smart with like when you hit that mud hill and then you gotta like walk up, you gotta grab the gravel thing and then like walk up the hill and then wrap it around the tree, and you're like, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah.
I will, and then I will say with that whole Madagascar scene where you're like driving up to that area, I'm stopping every time, or I'm hitting those rock stacks that they just have.
Yep.
That's a trophy.
I'm hitting them every time.
Yeah.
I don't think I must have missed one because I didn't get the trophy, but I thought that. But I'm taking the time. I'm hopping out. I'm kicking that bitch over.
You can hit it with the car.
I do. Sometimes
Brady's
it's
gonna
more satisfying just to like.
I totally agree.
So yeah, there's that one sequence where you're pulling the bridge down, and there's like a fortified area basically that Shoreline pulls up on.
Yep.
And the music, and that's where I think the flow of the game really fully shines. Where like you're swinging over the middle area that's like a cavern type thing, and you're slamming into people. The level design is very winding, and you're going everywhere, every which direction to get into cover, pop a guy, go back around, stealth a guy out, get back into hiding, like let things settle back down, pop back in. Like, it's so good.
This sequence starts out, and for my gameplay, you're on this other side of the bridge. You're trying to, which is like an entire wall, and then there's 2 pillars on the opposite corners. For me, it was pick up a sniper, shoot, grapple over, do, like you said, one of the best feelings maybe in all of gaming, grapple over, punch a dude in the face. They had a shotgun. I pick up the shotgun. I blow someone's kneecaps off. I pick the sniper back up. I shoot across. There's one guy in coverage that I can't get to, and I just grapple over. Once again, you're going over the chasm between the 2 different walls the entire time whenever you're making this grapple moves. The entire time that I'm playing this, it was one of those days that like it's later at night. It's not like 2 shoes hours where it's like 3:30 and I'm still playing a deep play session or something. It was like 11, and I remember being like, I can go to bed now. I'm so fucking happy right now. Like, this is the best shit for me, because I feel like sometimes when we are playing games, there's often times where it's like, I had a shit ton of fun, but there's no buts in this section. It is everything I want from video games, period, bar none. And the fact that here we are about 10 years later, and the first time I played it, and it is as fun and as good as I remember. I can't believe that they pulled it off in a way that I'm like, yep, I am going to. The next time I play this game, I assume it will be one of I don't know, and there are things that you did with your wife where you're like, you married me. Sorry, you kind of just got to deal with this now. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts. Like, there will be a moment when ever that. The next time I play this game, I will probably do it with the person I marry, or I will be married the next time I play this game, because I want somebody to go and just see this world, and it's a great backseat game, and I would love to backseat this game. I would love for them to play it.
Yeah.
But moments like this is like why I'm like, yep, I want to play this game every 5 years for the rest of my life, because I can never not be happy while playing this game.
I do love this bridge section, and then you got the little wood planks covering the holes where you can throw the TNT on top and explode them, and then climb down and be like, "What's down there?" Did you? Not do that?
I got one of those.
I'm sure I did it in my platinum playthrough, but not this time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I curiosity got me, and I was just like, I'm blowing this up, and I'm climbing down there and see what's going on. Yeah.
So then you make your way up, you run into Shoreline again, and then you splinter off with Sam going one direction to one of the towers, and you and Sully going to a different tower, right?
Yes.
And that's the clock tower sequence, which I think is really solid, really fun. Like you said, it's one of the only times in the game where it's really just kind of about a puzzle, but you're climbing at the same time, and then when it all comes crashing down, it's really cool.
Sully, you all right down there?
Another moment, you're out on the clock tower, and with the two arms of the clock. Or you need to go and situate where it goes across and everything. You get about halfway through climbing on the clock tower, and the director's just like, take that shit wide. Let's zoom it out a little bit, make you feel small in this grandiose area. And once again, you got
chilling.
It is so good.
Puzzle. It's Libertalia. They know now. Sam is fighting down the hill or whatever.
Yeah, this is where they find out the phones are right. The phones
they're
are
tapped.
tapped.
Yeah,
it's like our phones are tapped. And he's like, Sam, you gotta.
Once again, Rafe as a villain, and I would love to towards the end talk a little bit more just about the characters and the way that they take. Rafe is so fucking good as a villain, and this type of moment is he is so annoying. He's such a prick in the side of me. He's got rich kid energy, but I love his character because he's the whole mindset of he is filthy fucking rich. He is so rich he could never work a day in his life again. His grandkids, their grandkids, never work a day in their life, but it was all handed to him. And it's yes,
I think Rafe's a fine villain. Personally.
Really?
I kind of like the over-the-top nature of Lazarevich and the...
Really?
Yeah.
He's my favorite villain out of all the Uncharted.
It is so...
Lost Legacy, you might have a new favorite.
This is just a product of Uncharted maturing and becoming kind of a little bit different with being very grounded and not there's nothing over the top when it comes to the characters in this. Lazarevich is a caricature of a villain. Rafe is just a dude.
You're
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And I like Rafe, don't get me wrong, but I think he's not my favorite of the villains in the Uncharted series. So you're going after Sam, you're in the Jeep, you throw the fucking the grappling hook and you slam through the stuff, and then it totally just pops off this whole sequence of hopping from car to car, shooting motorcycles off of stuff, getting dragged in the mud, eventually getting your Jeep flipped because Sam is coming by you and is you're like, hop on, and they both say it at the same time, and they're like, no, you, and Sam, Nate gets flipped and the fire is going off, and he pops the thing out, the door out, and shoots the two guys, and Sam's like, get on, and you get on with Sam, and you're shooting behind you. I think this is, bar none, the best sequence in Uncharted, and maybe the best sequence in any video game ever. I think this is so top tier, over the top, perfection. It puts to shame. Like there was probably a group of like 30 people who were working on this specific sequence for like 6 years straight, perfecting this moment or whatever to get this right, because there was so much happening at any given moment. It's beautiful. It's so good.
You talking about it? I literally full fucking chills.
Yeah.
I didn't like realize it at first. Like you were like it was as deep as it was, because you start out in the back of that Jeep or whatever, and then you. Like I'm like, what do I need to do? And you realize like, oh, I'm hopping, like I'm jumping from vehicle to vehicle right now.
Yep.
Which you do in previous Uncharted, like with the horse sequence in 3, you're like hopping from truck to horse to, to truck again. It's good, but this this takes it all to the next level.
This is tighter by like a considerable margin in my opinion. Like everything is spaced out properly too, where you start out and it is let's just back it up a little bit. You're in the Jeep and you're flying down this mountain. It's like just smoking sheds and
another one of the situations where like you don't know you're going the right direction, but it's just so naturally pointing you down the hill. Like you're taking lefts and rights, but all of a sudden you're just always going the right direction.
It's a thing like I'm so smart.
As I've played more and more video games the past couple of years, I have grown to appreciate maybe more than anything else, but like from 2021, Nikki Two Shoes, 2022, 2023, even early on, level design. Like the level design is really fucking important, and when it's done well, it needs to be credited. So unlike games like Mass Effect 1, which have terrible level design, just wanted to throw straight at Mass Effect 1 again, but this game's level design is arguably like perfect. Like when we're talking about masterpiece versus perfection, literally perfect, where I don't know how you do it better. And then Connor knows this. I am a huge fan of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. It is one of my favorite movies ever. I think it's the third best action movie ever. There is a similar sequence. Those two, that movie and this came out on such a similar timeline, like that they weren't playing off each other's notes, but like high octane action in Mission Impossible, where it's just like nonstop. There's a very similar sequence that includes a motorcycle after the fact. Great movie. The fact that this is better than that is insane to me. It is fucking insane. One of my favorite movies ever, arguably the best Mission Impossible movie. This shit's better because it is all within some sense of, I know this is about to sound dumb, but reality. Like obviously this couldn't happen. Drake would have died like 48 action sequences ago.
Lucky.
But this whole sequence is fucking brilliant, and the best part of it is the dialogue. I love the gameplay so much, but between him talking to Sully, then him talking to Sam, and just going through this entire fucking shit show, like we have the Nathan Drake quips, we have the character dynamics that was only possible because we established it and it was a little bit slower earlier on in the game. We have like this is the payoff.
How do they establish it in 2 and 3 then? Without having to do this?
It was not as deep.
They didn't establish it in 2 and 3.
You have character dynamics between you and Elena and you and Sully.
I don't
they
feel
literally
for it,
do in 3. They put you back into Kid Drake and make you go through that sequence with him and Sully.
I understand, but we already had the relationship with Sully, and Uncharted 3 is a step forward in the franchise where it's like, okay, this game is all about the relationship between Nate and Sully and two characters' dynamics, and we have the rest of the cast to help push that dynamic forward. This game strips away some of the side characters. We don't have Chloe, we don't have Cutter, but it is going to be like, okay, the relationship between Sully, like you said, we have the angel on the shoulder, devil on the shoulder with Sam. We have the relationship with Elena, and then most importantly, it is Nathan Drake's like life purpose, which
it's great. I just
think
don't
is
know
so
why
fucking
it
good.
needs to take so long.
We don't have that.
Yes.
We won't harp on this too much.
We gotta harp on it way more.
But the ending where you're fucking shooting the truck behind you and just fucking lighting that thing up, like it's so good.
Hit that one more time.
and then you slide under the truck or the crate or whatever it is with Sam and pop back up after the thing explodes behind you. It's like, what the fuck, dude? This is so good. So then, anything else on that sequence?
No, Madagascar, we can move on.
Well, we have to bust through the door because we're going to Libertalia. We're looking for the lost city of the pirate haven. Elena's in there.
Oh, wait. Oh, dude, I forgot about
Top
this.
5 personal top 5 moments in all gaming.
Like at my and after all that action sequence, your brain's not even thinking about like, oh shit, this is all a lie. He's supposed to be at work
Just
right
like
now.
Nate's not thinking about it either.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Well,
That's why.
Yeah, well, exactly.
We
yeah.
go from the Nathan Drake being the most Nathan Drake possible out of like this is Nathan Drake being Nathan fucking Drake. This is the high octane adventure that that sequence is Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3. When we talk about those games, we talk about sequences like that. To go from that for it to be a full nonstop. The first time that I played this, and this being your first time, and like it doesn't hit as hard as that first time, obviously, because it was so shocking.
Yeah.
But goddamn, the emotional gut punch that this is him realizing, being like, and then like even the sequence that happens, fucking Sully just being like, like she's pissed at Drake. She looks at Sully to be like, give me an answer, give me anything, and he just goes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's in just as much trouble.
It's so fucking sad because he's like, I understand that I have to watch after him, but like I failed you as basically my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry. It's so fucking good for Sam to basically not have the understanding of like what he's actually doing to Nathan's life, but for Nate to understand it fully and sit in the fact that he not only lied to his wife, he did it with glee to some regard. And like subconsciously, he's not happy that he's lying, but he has to do it because that's who he is as a person. Not a liar, but somebody that has to go after that next thrill is so fucking good. Within the span of 3 minutes, not only has the dynamics of all these characters changed drastically, but it is so effective and sends off these characters so well on the rest of the game. And the only reason that they're able to do that is the first third of the game.
So we, like I said in my overall like statement at the beginning, like there are like parts of this game that sets it apart from 2 and 3, and that is one of them. You're like, I never had any gut punches like that in 2 and 3, and I was just like you said, like I said, you feel like you're in trouble too. You're like, oh shit.
There are twists in 2 and 3. This isn't a twist that is just like, oh, you pulled one over on me. This is like a character emotional gut punch twist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the maturation of the entire series is what I consider Uncharted 4, and this is like the perfect example of it for the most part.
And then Sam's just there. She's like, who the fuck is this guy?
and he goes, and for it to be, once again, him introducing, you killed this analogy, by the way. Hey, this is the devil on my shoulder right now.
Yeah.
You're Sam. Compared to what Nate originally wanted it to be, which was, you have to come over for dinner, for it to be, now we're in fucking a war zone shit show because of him. And like the whole part of this game, and it gets further when it is the later betrayal, is why am I doing all this? What is my purpose in all this? Am I doing it because I want to do it? Am I doing it for Sam? Why is all this the case? And he's clearly not doing it for Sam, because he would have just told Elena at the start. There's part of him that has to do this, and it is so fucking well nuanced.
It's weird though, because right when you cut from there, you go on the boat again, and like they're clinking their beers, they're happy. I
think they do a good job of making Drake seem like
100%.
sad.
But I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is bad, but like I'm saying that like they contrast it really well with like. He just moves on, but like he kind of has to just move on.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know how to.
Well,
else
he's
to
got like
do.
that rain cloud over him. He's like, fucking.
Well,
goofed.
I think Sam, Troy Baker kills it. The Baconator himself fucking kills this performance, because it is the thing where if I have a shit day, Brady's gonna be a good friend, bring over a 6-pack and be like, hey man, like we haven't properly celebrated. It is the thing of like, you can almost tell if you've ever had these moments in life where it is the like, I understand my buddy is, and in this case scenario, my brother is sad. It is the like, okay, I'm sad for him, but I need to be the one to put on like the happy face and try to like change the momentum of like, I mean, we've had it as a company where it is like, all right, like we need to like, we got work to do, so we need to go and get everyone feeling good before we get into that work. Let's go in. Hell, hey man, we haven't properly celebrated me living. Let's have a beer together. And it is the like, all right, like we can take a little bit of a breath, put some oxygen back in the lungs, and go forward in the story. I think it is well done.
I love what you're doing there, and I think you're finding the light in the situation. But this also, you can look at it like that, but this also does a good job of kind of like being like, this is who Sam is. He's kind of like a selfish person. I mean, it is a little bit of both. He is like, he's like, no, I got my eye set on this one thing. Let's just keep it rolling.
Sam is insanely self-serving in this entire video game, and it's Really well done.
Neil and Bruce, but I guess Neil now we have more examples of it because of Uncharted. The Last of Us Part 2. Like he loves obsession. Like that idea of just like being your obsession being your downfall. Like is so prevalent in this. It's so prevalent in The Last of Us Part 2 as well. Like Sam's obsession here, like he doesn't give a shit about Nathan and Elena's relationship in that moment. He cares about the treasure. He cares about
and
that's how I felt.
He cares about his destiny. He cares about like what he's put on this earth to do and find this specific thing.
And he's willing to fuck over the person that means the most to him to get it. Right. And it is so good. We'll get to that in a moment.
So we are heading to Libertalia. We are in the boat. We are going there's like an archipelago, a bunch of islands. Now
wait, what was that word?
Archipelago.
First time hearing that.
No way.
That's a collection of islands. Yeah.
Learn something new every day. Okay,
we're
but
an information podcast.
This is pacing here. This is what I'm talking about, where like you have this fucking crazy, high octane, exciting sequence. Let's settle it down. Let's do some climbing. Let's do some puzzling. Let's go around these islands and get to our next location. That's fine. This is perfect for me, where it's like you have that contrast. It's okay to settle down now after those high octane moments to like kind of settle you back into everything. And I don't think this is like by any means like one of the best sequences. I think this is great for platinum hunting and like finding treasures and like really kind of going around and exploring. But if you're not doing that, if you're just doing like the main path, it is very just like by the numbers, go climb and do the thing. Do like you're in that tower and it like opens up and you're following along the arrows in the boat. Like
I love the arrows.
Like, it's good. Yeah. I thought it was a tad drawn out with like the arrows and going around with the boat, but like you said, you kind of it was a little my fault with like I probably got a little lost and a little sidetracked because it is that treasure hunting area where like I did go off to that pirate ship, like half sunken pirate ship, and was just like looking around. I was like, oh, I don't even need to be here, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I do want to shout out though that this is the part of the game where now on replaying it again, we're just in this area for the next 8 chapters. Like, not exactly this area, but we are on the staying on a boat. It is, we're in the tropics where we're going and like all just trying to point towards this Libertalia at this point.
But this area is very different than the next area.
Which is but like the overarching setting is it is now like in the fact that they are able to keep it interesting chapter over chapter, and whether it's story beats or character beats, or just like I said, perfection when it comes to level design for the rest of this game. It is like it starts in Scotland and it does not stop for the rest of the fucking game. It's brilliant.
So then we do the opening again. Sam or Nate or whatever, as he goes in the water, he gets shipwrecked or whatever. He's on the shore. It's cold. It's wet. I like the sequence again. Like it's very reminiscent of Uncharted 3 with the desert of like just feeling like he's in way over his head.
He's like slipping in mud. Yeah, and you're like, oh, our boy's down.
Nathan Drake's no good, bad time.
He's fighting with his wife. His brother's gone. It's raining. You're like, oh,
he's probably hungry.
I haven't seen this man eat. Yeah, he hasn't slept.
But this is where I think once you get to Libertalia and you get to these more jungle type sequences, this is where I think the level design just really fucking.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Like I was gonna say earlier with that whole in Madagascar where you're dropping that bridge and everything. It like starts to scratch that surface where you can go underneath and like go up and swing around, but it does not even get into it until now. It's just like holy shit.
There's like land bridges and pillars.
You can swim and go under.
It's crazy. It's so good.
It is them. Like I this is one of those times where it's like we need more faces and names in video games, and we need to shout out certain dev aspects. The team that worked on the level design, whoever that director was, and every single person that touched level design in this game, like there needs to be a Game Awards thing where we can go back to 2016 and be like, let's in the 2025 Game Awards, I need them to go back and give that team an award. Like I need them to get their own goatee.
We need to do a draft for like level design or like game levels, and I'm going Uncharted 4 and first over.
I'm going Uncharted 4. That's my last pick. That's my last pick.
So you're climbing to get back to these to get back to Sam. You finally get back to Sam. You found Libertalia in some capacity. It's wrecked for the most part.
We're in like chapter 19 of the 18?
No. So we're at
16?
16. Yeah, I can pull it up.
These chapters just flow together so quickly. Like
once you get here, especially, I think
you blink and you like that chapter title goes away, and you're like, don't even process that you're in the next chapter. Some of them have hard cuts, but a lot of them it's just like
you just keep on going. And
Like I said, I cooked through the game. It's like you get 4 chapters done. Like,
So next we have the next big reveal is Sam is lying.
yeah, that's when this is when you like run into Rafe, and this is kind of where I felt like you get towards the end of the
Right.
the end.
Well, you have the whole
game
Elena
series.
section. After
Yeah.
that.
So
True,
by the way, chapter 12 at sea.
Mhm.
There is 22 chapters in this
Right.
game. So the
some of
fact
them
is,
some of them are literally like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
yeah.
some of
So
them
the end is really where it goes.
last.
Chapter 15 is the Thieves of Libertalia. That is the sequencing where you're in the building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, New Devon is when you're in the building area and everything with Elena. So that's the thing. The reveal is like chapter 15. We still have a third of this game post reveal, basically.
Oh, yeah, there's another sequence that I'm excited to talk about. Okay, so the reveal that Sam is lying. How do we feel about that? How did it impact you?
It was another one of those, like, this is what sets Uncharted 4 apart. It was a gut punch, like, where in that whole scene where Rafe's like, is that what you told him? Like, you really
Yeah.
believe him? And
He's
it's
been
like,
dead for Alexar's been dead for 6 months.
and you even play that like Sam card or you even play that like beat at the beginning where you're like Sam breaking out, like
Yeah.
as Sam, and you're like, that was an entire lie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that never, none
Which
of
makes
that
it so
even
much better.
happened.
Exactly. The game.
You're like, I'm here for like, why, like you said,
Brady. Great fucking point.
yeah. Well, like you said earlier, like Drake's there because he wants to be there, but also it's like there's that part of him after his wife caught him, and then he's like, he realizes like this is for fucking nothing. Like
Yeah.
he's having a great time, but it's like I just ruined my relationship, and like the whole sole purpose we're doing this is like I've lost my brother because he's a fucking liar,
Yep.
and it's like the whole reason we're fucking in the middle of nowhere is like a lie.
I think this is before this moment, but the only other sequence in the game that I think is like I think they've really put all their budget into that one sequence in Madagascar where it's fucking crazy for the like big budget set pieces. But there's one set piece when you're in a tower and you're looking out over it, and then the RPGs start coming in, and
Dude.
like it's flying all around you, and you're on the ropes or whatever, and you're
Dude.
climbing up, and everything's crumbling around you, and you're jumping from thing to thing. It's like, yeah, baby.
This is once again. We're not talking Uncharted 2 train sequence, but those moments are better, but far and away better than the second best sequence in any of the Uncharted games. And honestly, in my opinion, because it's not, we're going to base it around this, aka a train, aka around a plane. We're going to just let the world and the environment be the entire like set piece. So good. When it comes to, I want to dial back to the conversation between the realization. You fucking nailed it. When having the player have the agency going through the entire Sam sequence for them to be a lie is so well done, and that is, in my opinion, like the Neil Druckmann flair of like this whole thing, where the storytelling is him getting his back, being like, "Oh, you want to know what's gonna really hurt? Let's go and make him play through it, and then it's gonna be a lie." Like that is game design, that is game writing, that is top of your game shit when it comes to direction, writing, just every single person that works on this game having those types of moments and those decisions when it comes to the narrative is so fucking good. And Sam's betrayal, the fact that we went from Sam's betrayal to me still is not the Elena moment. The Elena moment is like, for me personally, ever since
They were equivalent for me.
like I can't describe the emotion I originally had when I go back to it. For some reason, I played back in 2020. I played through Uncharted 2, 3, and 4 again. Just pandemic, winter break. I'm in college, so you have those 4 weeks basically off. And I was like, I want to play 2, 3, and 4. Seeing the dynamics between Elena, Sully, and Nate through these games and everything. Sully saying I'm sorry it made me cry, like in a way that I was like, oh, this really hurts. Like I don't know why this hurts as badly as it does, but this moment is so fucking brutal because it is worse than betrayal. You're right. He threw all of his life away. He like you had no sympathy, no compassion to at least once think about the fact that you are fucking my entire life over just because you want to get off on this adventure.
I'll push back on this. I think Sam comes to Nate with this idea of Avery's treasure and them having sought this out their entire life and have it be their mom's legacy. I think he says yes anyways.
Well,
and then even after it's revealed that he lied, he still doesn't give a shit. He still wants the treasure. He still wants to go after it.
Well, does he want the treasure or does he want to save Sam?
I think it's both.
I completely
Well,
agree.
yeah,
I
that's
think,
what I'm
and
saying.
I think,
that
later it becomes just about Sam, but I think after that sequence and for a while after that, it's a mix.
Yeah.
Where you-
Well,
like-
we're about to talk about Elena, like seeing him and everything, and like
Is there something in between him getting? Do you go back to being a kid again? Can you look this up?
yeah, sure.
I do want, while you're doing that, let's take some cliff notes because I like to think that some people watching this haven't played Uncharted 4 and
There's probably
aren't
a couple.
aren't going to play Uncharted 4 because we haven't touched on it. We're saying this whole betrayal, this whole lie. So the whole thing is, yeah, Sam breaks out of jail. He breaks out of jail because of that one dude, and it's like who has been dead, which was all this is a lie. He's like, I need to get this treasure to give half of it to this guy so he doesn't kill me for breaking me out of jail or whatever.
Right.
And which all ended up being a lie.
So yeah, Kid Drake is in between Elena finding him.
Okay. And what happens in the sequence is that
That's
just like
the lady. That's
yeah. So you go through the house and then
you find your mama books.
and then
your mama books.
and then this is where it's like revealed like why like Sam and Drake are basically the way that they are. They're
Oh,
gonna
you
get,
do? Yeah, okay.
they're gonna
Yeah.
get chased by the cops for the foreseeable future apparently because they people think that they killed that old lady.
That's why
Yep.
they changed their last name.
They
Yeah.
changed their last name. They vow to like go on adventures and stuff together and go do stuff, which is cool. Like I like the sequence where it is, and I think it's necessary to break up the moments of Sam's betrayal, give them that backstory, make them close again, and then pick it up with Elena after that.
For me, completely thematically makes sense too. Of like, why would Sam do this? This is why Sam would do this. Like
Right.
it is the like very basic narrative structure that like when you gotta imagine they're storyboarding like what are the beats of this game, every single thing and every single story beat that is being thrown at the player needs to make sense. And when we get that story beat of Sam's betrayal, it is like that doesn't like we like Sam. That doesn't make a ton of sense. Like why would he do that? And then it's just like this is why he would do that. And I think that is it fun to play as Kid Drake? No, it's not. Like it is more fun to be going through crazy fucking level design, the best level design ever. But it is also like the emotional impact, and they need to hit those story beats, and it works well in the character dynamics, and like even taking the Polaroid picture with Sam, like small moments like that to just keep the player being like, I fucking love these two people together. Like I love their relationship. It's so believable. It makes sense, and yeah, it is great.
This kid sequence is a little more palatable than the first one. It is a little more drawn out, but it is one of those other things where it's more of a treasure hunting kind of part where you're walking around, you're putting that night helmet on, you're like doing all these kind of silly little things. And then I love that whole sequence with the older lady who they realize who each other are, and then she just like starts ripping a heater, and then she just like, and then she drops dead, and you're like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
So I think that sequence is great. You pick it up with Elena. Elena has come after you because
Of course he has.
That's when that's when it starts becoming more about Sam because Elena's around, and it's like let's be a good boy and get home. Let's get Sam and get the fuck out of here. It's like I'm not a venture boy anymore. I want to go home now.
So we've kind of touched on like the level design and like how this all works and how much we adore it, and I think that's just very present here throughout all of this, like with the different sequences when you're in the water, when you're you're on the elevator and that's coming up, and you can like go from point to point. Really good.
Real quick, the elevator sequence. There has been maybe throughout all of video games 50,000 elevator sequences where you are going through an elevator and then there's enemies coming onto the platform to fuck you up. That is just like video game design happens all the time. This is by far the best example of it ever, where it is you're on top of it and then you jump over to a platform, smoke a guy with a shotgun, pick it up yourself, are able to climb another pillar, smoke someone with your pistol. There's a sniper, like when the lasers come in during that sequence and the snipers, and you're just like, fuck, gotta deal with this now. Cover shooting feels so good in this moment, and then you could jump back on the elevator, and then Elena's just like, "What's up, guy? Like, how's it going?" It's so good.
All of that, and then like I also do go back. I want to go back to like I appreciate just the banter between Drake and Elena, but in this moment where like they're driving and she's like, "Why'd you lie to me? Like why do we do this?"
So what I was gonna say is like we belabored the point on the combat. Like this is all about Elena and Drake and their conversations, and like there's so many cutscenes and moments where it's like these are two real people talking. Like this is how two people who understand each other, respect each other, and are going through something in a relationship. Obviously, it is very out of this world of what that thing is, but at its core, like, it is still about very real, personal stuff about betrayal, about lying, about like growth and trying to find a path forward and forgiveness and stuff like that, or an unconditional love that even though they've totally betrayed Nate has totally betrayed her trust, like she still loves him and like came after him and is still there for them, but still feels this way, that she feels betrayed and they need to find a way forward through this. She's like, you could have told me, like, why did you not tell me? And like him just being like, I don't
That's
know.
who I am.
It feels so real, dude. It feels so real. Like,
Connor have me tearing up right now. Like it sucks, man. Like these two characters.
check your bingo board.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I mean it's such a odd podcast to get teary eyed on, but like it is like the communication between these two people in the start of the game when they're sitting on the couch is just like, oh, this is like a great couple. Like this is what couples are supposed to be. It is doing the dishes. Or sorry, playing a video game to see who gets to do the dishes, and there's so much love between these two characters, and then to go and throw in the context of 3 previous games, this is our 3rd or our 4th bout with these characters, and for it to be just the worst, like it is such an emotional gut punch, and then for it to go back to what their roots are, which is like, if you ever are not having a great time with your partner and you need to go and figure out how to communicate, listening to these two communicate and like actually just be all cards on the table, fully honest, and just like have these conversations that are so fucking real. It's so good.
The way you just broke it down to the core, I was sitting here and I was like, I need to go home and hug my wife and tell her, we unconditionally love each other and thank you for putting up for my bullshit. It does feel so real.
Yeah.
Now you got me tearing up.
Yeah,
the whole
right? Like it's good, man.
The whole sequence with the music and them in the car together too, where it's silent between them. But and the music is just going or whatever. Like the
is
piano.
this where the piano? Oh, dude, when that piano hits, you're like, oh my god,
it's so good.
I can't like. And you said you're on the Glaze train now too. Like you're like I love it.
This game. I love this game. Yeah.
Like this is where like when we talked about getting to talk about this this conversation goes about a week before Co-op 64 Day, where Connor started playing it, and like we all have been then pacing out trying to play this game through winter and everything that we're doing, and like finally being able to have this discussion about this thing that we all love so much. Like when we talk about Co-op 64 and the history of what we get to do, this is the best shit ever because we all love this game so fucking much. And there are moments like that where I'm playing that sequence and I'm just like, I cannot wait to talk to the boys about this. Right. I cannot wait to hop on a camera because that piano kicks in and it is immediately it's the Game of Thrones thing, and I bring it up all the time. Light of the Seven, there's a moment in Game of Thrones, I'm not going to bring it up. It's the season 6 episode 10, Cersei in a tower. That's all you gotta need to go from there. Where in that moment, the piano is like the main driver of the melody, and that is the first time that it happens in all of Game of Thrones where the piano is the driver of the melody. It normally is strings. Same deal here, where it is it is normally strings. It is normally high octane adventure beats. There are some more somber moments where it is like extremely low, but it's all based around string instruments. Here we have the piano coming in to show that like this is different. It
caught me off guard.
I
was like, oh shit.
Like, why the fuck are we doing this? The composition. So fucking good, dude. It is like what I have a playlist of music that I've used to study for a very long time, and Uncharted 4 leaps and bounds better soundtrack than any of the other Uncharted games, and it doesn't have like the main like jungle theme that we all know and love from but it is like these more subdued, like there's more weight to every single track on the
piano version of that song. It's so good.
It's so good. And so having this entire game lead up to a moment like this and it be different and it be so real, it pulls you completely out of the adventure, and it like basically puts the two characters, just sits them next to each other and allows them to have a conversation. But it just so happens that they're in the jungle and this crazy shit's also happening.
Right after that, they get into the like river, and the river like takes them down, and like Nate is like throwing like his grappling hook as the car barrels off the fucking waterfall. It's like,
so
and then it's like So we are heading towards Avery and Tom's 2.
Their
and
mansion.
Their
Oh, dude, I
situation.
love this part.
And like how their story encapsulates this whole adventure of they have everything they want. They finally got their pirate paradise. They have this massive amount of treasure. They're off the grid. Nobody's fucking with them. And they have all their pirate buddies with them, and they still don't have enough. They have to fucking infight, and they have to kill each other because they want more. They want more. They want more. They want more control. They want more power. And they give it all up, and they let this all happen just to fucking kill each other eventually, and they're just trying to get off the island. They're letting everything burn behind them. They don't give a shit about anybody who they're hurting, just like Drake, because they just want this treasure. And that's Sam, and that's Drake, and obviously Drake is being pulled back into light, and Sam's still going in that direction. And as you get to the end of the game, Nadine mentions it as well. It's like everybody who goes after this treasure ends up fucking dead. We're done. We're leaving this. You have enough. Just get out.
She says it too. It very well. She's like, we have millions in gold. Why would I put my men through that? Why would I put myself through that? And it is Rafe's obsession over this treasure. It is the brothers Drake's obsession over the credit for this treasure.
So we're still going after Sam. We get that whole sequence. We're getting the backstory. Oh, real quick, want to talk about the like the gravelly wall with the spike thing?
Great ad.
I like that.
Great
Yeah,
ad.
it's nice to come that late in the game too. Like where it's like, let's add a little layer.
Yep.
To this.
Hey, this thing that you have done since Uncharted 1 that has been the exact same gameplay mechanic for a long time. Let's add a grappling hook at the start of the game. Let's add a spike at the end of the game, or like not at the end of the game. We get a chapter like 15, so we got an entire third basically with it. It just adds a little bit more layers to something that, like, instead of, hey, I'm listening to Snowbike Mike go and fucking do a stream in the background just because I'm going to be mashing X as I'm climbing this building the entire time. Having a little bit more of a break in the monotony of climbing throughout this entire game. They understood so well. By the time you get to Uncharted 3, climbing is like, all right. Like, we can, like, I don't need a ton of it.
Yeah.
And the focus of that game was a little bit more on the fighting mechanics, and it's shown from chapter 1 of that game and on. For this, they say we're going to up the ante when it comes to one of the core pillars of this entire game. Also, the puzzles are a lot better, but like when it comes to the climbing, they're like, it is going to take a legitimate, not just one, but 2 different mechanics to take a step up, and both mechanics are super fun.
I do love the especially when you like are jumping and you like dagger it into the wall and then you slide down a little bit to catch yourself. Like, oh, it's such a nice touch.
It's very satisfying, very tactile. You can feel it on the controller and everything. Now we get to the worst part of the game, in my opinion.
Oh god.
The fucking tomb section where all the things are exploding as you're trying to go through it is so annoying.
Because it feels like there's no rhyme or reason to
Exactly.
it.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Am I doing it wrong? Am I supposed to be getting knocked down every single time I'm going past one of these? Like, I'm getting past it. I'm not dying. It just fucking explodes and explodes over and over and over.
I felt like I just went like hopefully I'm not hitting one.
So annoying. What is that
I
sequence?
don't hate it, but it's like I wish there was more rhyme or reason.
Yes.
Like I need to go left to survive, but I feel like I'm just like surviving.
You remove that from the game, it does not take anything away from it. It only adds.
I like that sequence quite a bit. I think
just like
I know.
like,
So this is well, one, sure. 2, I do just like the lighting design being in a dark. It's different from what we got for the past 4 chapters of just being in the jungle area, and then the next 3 chapters are once again just being in the jungle area. I like that there's
you're on like pirate ships and stuff in the final 3 chapters.
You're on a pirate ship for like the last chapter. You're still in the jungle for
no. You're
in the jungle.
No, you're in like you're on the outside.
You
of the
are
island.
jumping
you're
on.
fighting
On
in
the
ship wreckage for like
that's the other part where I do also like the fact that for the last 7 chapters, or the last 7 chapters of the entire game, so obviously this is in the middle of it, it is super open level design. I like that this is a little bit more tight, especially when there's those moments that you have the 2 giant shotgun guys coming at you with the helmets on, and you are able to, like, it is a lot more impending doom type of deal where you are so close quarters, you can't run away. You need to actually step up to the plate and toss grenades, fire off a little bit more often compared to later in the game where it is super open level design again. Once again, I like that it's a little bit of a switch. I do kind of concur that, like, you can leave this one at the door. This could have been cutting room floor. It's not the most necessary thing. I did enjoy this section. But once again, when I think that, like, early on in the game, like there you can make a comment or two about like I can leave it at the door, but like I'm fine with it. This is one of those things that happens like 2 times throughout this entire game. The rest is just fucking unbelievable.
And then you're in that section where you're in the pirate wreckage. You're going after Sam still.
I love that part, dude.
So
So
good.
good.
The music, the visuals, the level of scale when it comes to the battle. Like there's so many different like enemy types and the Gatling guns and like the guys, the shotgun guys are coming at you, the snipers. Like it's really kind of marrying everything that's great about this game. And I think this is where like the gameplay peaks, because after that it's Sam, we're leaving, we're getting out.
Yep.
Sam says, bro, I'm going.
Nah,
Nate goes after him. They're all going to go after him, but Nate kind of gets separated. So
Yep.
Nate's going after him.
Oh,
And-
which by the way, from a character design and like what the story needs in this moment, this whole story has been to some level about Sam and Drake.
No, yeah, this is like my fight. Let me do this.
I love that there is that moment where they get the cart, they're pushing it up the hill, and then Drake makes the jump, and then the cart rolls down and everything, and he's like, I got to go after him, and they're like, we know, like we can't get to you, do what you sort of got to do and everything, get him out of here, get home, and like be safe and everything, but like it's just so fucking good.
It's great.
Like just letting the last couple chapters of this game just be Drake and Sam doing their thing. Full brother dynamic is on like full tilt for the rest of this game of like what their core relationship
There's
is.
not much game left though
Yeah.
at this point. So you're going after Sam, you're climbing, you're scaling mountains at this point. You're in that cave. Fun little fact for you guys. There's one like specific hidden treasure in the game that you get a trophy for, like outside of like get 20, get 30, get 50 treasures or whatever, which you get trophies for those. Where when you're in that cave, like, and you're on like the rope, there's a like hole like that big, but like it's in the ceiling, so you have to like go down and like go like all the way up into it, and you can grab onto it, and it's a little cave. There's a like an apple fruit from Crash Bandicoot.
Oh,
in there
nice.
or whatever. It's very out of place, but it's really cool.
With this cave, the cave that is the end game and everything.
Yeah.
I brought it up 2 other times. They love going wide and showing off this fucking cave. They do it like 7 different times.
With like
does it
the
for
with like
me.
the head,
Yeah,
or whatever.
it
It kind of
like-
looks like something with teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's pretty. I think the reason it is designed the way it is one, like, sure, like we're gonna show, hey, that's the end goal and everything, and like but it is like that's not a welcoming place. This isn't paradise. This isn't perfect. They love going wide with that shot, and every single time I'm like, god damn, for a game that came out in 2016, this game looks insanely good, especially some of the lighting design. It's
The
terrific.
visuals in this game are insane. I mean,
Yeah.
like, games don't need to look better than this, if I'm being
No,
perfectly honest.
I
when
agree.
people are like, we brought it up all the time. If the fucking Switch 2 is as powerful as a PS4 Pro, this game came out in 2016 before the Pro. If it's good as a PS4 Pro, we never, ever, ever need it to look better than this. Ever. This
But it
game
is-
looks insane.
It is running at 30 FPS on PS4, I think. I think it runs better on for the PS5 version.
Oh,
of course,
really?
but
That's interesting.
I think it runs even better on Pro, is what I read. So then we get to the boat. Sam crushed under some debris.
Not cool.
Time to sword fight with Rafe. Like you're going after. You are Henry Avery. Like this is like the final like sequence
So
of
poetic.
like the ship burning down around you. How do you guys feel about this sequence? I know people fucking hate the Lazarevich fight in 2, and they're like, "Oh, it's the worst. It ruins the game or whatever." Like, okay, fuck off.
Some people,
It's a classic boss fight.
I know that some people really dislike this fight. Like in general, like really, really dislike it.
I don't feel any way about it. It's
Same.
fine, but it's not good either. But you need to end the game somehow, so like, fine, whatever.
The swords are fun and poetic, but I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I think that overall this is by far the best finale fight, and it's not because like the gameplay aspects are amazing. I do think that the gameplay is fun here. Like it is fun to go and wield a sword and have it be your right slash left slash dodge. All that is in play. This is where like a true like a good backstep, Last of Us 2 backstep would have been amazing. I think that this entire sequence though, because it's poetic, and then also it is character base. Like Lazarevich, who gives a flying fuck about Lazarevich? With Rafe and the understanding of obsession and trying to go and have him like Nate pleads before this fight and says, let's help me. We'll all get out of here. Like we can do this together. And for Rafe to just be like, no, man. And then I'm pretty sure he says something along the lines like, on guard, bitch. Like, he's like, let's fucking go. So for me, the reason I enjoy the fight is not the mechanics. Good. The fucking line delivery and the conversation that happens between Rafe and Nate and just the way that literally this entire fight plays out is by far the best in the Uncharted series. And honestly, when we're talking about landing the plane when it comes to any game, I do think it is very, very hard to give a very satisfying, like, okay, deep breath conclusion when we're talking about just any fight in general. I think that...
Why do you have to have a cinematic boss fight at the end? Why can't you just like have it be a cutscene and move the story forward?
Well,
you know what I
like...
mean?
You gotta have. You're playing a video game.
I understand, but you've been the best part of the final lead up sequence that feels like really climactic is the ship sequence when you're in like the wreckage.
Like, when you're
that is satisfying for me. And then to climb around and then get into the ship and see Sam down there and have Rafe coming at you like. They do a sword fight.
It needs. Connor, you would have if this game ended. If this game ended just with like 20 minutes of cutscenes and didn't allow you to go
20 minutes of cutscenes.
The end of this game is like 10 minutes of cutscenes before we get to that epilogue. I think that they needed to have this, and I think that this was a very, very good solution for it. And also, I think that this is great. Like, I think that this isn't like when I'm talking about like final fights or boss fights or anything. Isn't like something that's unbelievable, but also the core mechanics of the cover shooter genre is you sort of have two options. You have giant, really big boss fight and you're running around and like shooting grenade launchers at it or whatever. I'm talking about things like even like Dead Space or whatever. Or it's a little bit more one-on-one nuance and there's like stealth sections like A Last of Us versus David. And then this is like, no, both of those aren't like perfect and also don't really work for what this game is. It is about interpersonal connections, and for the gameplay to go and reflect that, I think is really good.
I understand what you're saying, Connor, but also I think you just have this dislike for Rafe, and this is why I like Rafe so much. He just has that, like, the way he talks and his cadence and like his lack of empathy and care for this. I feel like you do need that boss fight at the end so you feel like you got that one over on Rafe. Like you feel like I did it. Like
I also love how Nadine is like, bye.
But like she makes the right choice. And once again,
she's the smartest one there.
This is such a good encapsulation of the reason that I love Uncharted, that I love Drake. It is the quips, it is the emotional stake, it is fighting for family, which like at the end of the day, it's all about family. No, but like it is about those characters that he fucking loves and will do anything for. He is the most selfish man ever while also being one of the best friends possible. And this entire fight, having Sam to the side, having it be him versus Rafe, I love it.
You think Sam was gonna die here?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Not buying it.
I thought that
nobody dies on Uncharted. Who's important is the thing.
Right.
And we could have lost Cutter a couple times.
I know, but like, that's the thing. If Cutter can't die, then like they're not killing Sam.
But
it's not like they should. Yeah. That's the thing is like he's expendable because it's just like he's like a new character.
There's a thing in I'm not gonna exactly shout out the show, but there's a very, very, very one of the highest stream shows ever. If you're a new character and a new season starts up and you're a new character, you die every time. And we're about to enter season 5 of the show. 4 seasons, it's like new character, you're dead. It's happened every time.
I know exactly what show you're talking about, and I've never even seen the show.
Yep.
All right, epilogue. We get out of there. We're going off. We're living normal life again. You pick up in the shoes of Cassie Drake in the most hyper-realistic environment I've ever seen in my entire life. This house, have you ever seen the pictures that are posted on Twitter? Like once every year, somebody's like, this is a video game. And it's like pictures of just like the different rooms in the house. Yep. And it's like, that's real life. That's not a video game. And that's something that came out in 2016, which is weird. So she goes off. She finds the cabinet with all the remnants that were in the attic at the beginning of the game.
Love
Drake
it.
and Elena are old now.
Hey, they're older.
Okay.
They're like 30.
You get the,
No, I'm just kidding.
you get the picture.
They're
you get
50,
the picture
yeah.
from Uncharted 1 of Sully and Elena and Drake with the treasure
And the guns.
Yeah, and you get that whole start of the backstory. It's very funny. It's cute.
Language.
She sees the note
Yeah.
that they're coming to visit. Sam and Sully are like
Yep.
coming to visit.
Oh, there's also the
And there's a
sequence
picture.
at the end before this with like Sam and
Sully.
Sully talking about like another adventure. They wanted an out to like be like, this is the last Uncharted. But like if in 10 years we have the Cassie option, we have the Sam Drake option, you have some options. You have the Chloe option.
The entire franchise, like the character moments between Sam, Sully, Elena, Drake, all before that epilogue, is, in my opinion, when we're talking about like masterpiece versus perfection, that is perfection. The like obviously it's such a interesting dynamic between in-laws. Like that is just a really sometimes awkward, sometimes cool and chill relationship. For it to be like Sam hugging Elena being like, yeah, like bringing it, like it's just like perfect like awkwardness, but also like, hey, I love this person, you are family, we are going to be on good terms after this. It is perfect.
Talking about Nate the Great.
Yeah.
Nate's magician phase, which I think is funny.
It is the it is the like brotherly bullshit that you do when hey well, in this situation wife is by, hey, let's tell a story and make the husband look a little bit like stupid and everything. It is just good character dynamics. I love it.
So epilogue I think is great. Sully is the name of the dog, which is cute.
Yeah.
Like that.
We've talked about this, dude. Our gosh darn cousins named their dog Sully, and now I can't name my fucking dog Sully.
I think it's a great send off for the series. I at that moment was like, I never want another Uncharted after this. I think you can leave it. It's been 10 years now. I think it's time to bring it back. How do you guys feel about the potential of another Uncharted, and what direction do you want it to go in?
First, I just want to say epilogue 10 out of 10.
I agree. Yeah.
And you also
They didn't like you think the game's over and like they didn't need to do that, but then it's fantastic.
It needs to tie it up, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it opens doors. It gives them the options.
We need an Uncharted at the, like when we're talking about we'll do this podcast in a couple weeks. We need an Uncharted badly
More
at
than
this
ever.
point.
It feels like it's time.
Because we need a guarantee banger when we're talking about the PlayStation library and when we're talking about IP in general. God of War, Horizon, Last of Us. These are like the major tentpole IPs that they've been relying on since 2017, basically. Now here we are 8 years later, and with Bend and Bluepoint not making games, and Firewalk is Concord?
Yeah, I think so.
And then Fair Games with Haven is just like, there's not a guarantee basically out there that is like bangerville. Like we need something that's going to be just a straight up banger. And I am at the point, if I am Sony, I'm looking at Bluepoint and I'm saying you have two options: Bloodborne remastered or remake, because they remade Demon's Souls and it's fucking awesome, and everyone that would be a guaranteed win. You need a guaranteed win. Or I'm saying Uncharted, take whatever direction you want. You're not allowed to bring Drake back. You cannot bring Drake back.
I think you can do a Cassie.
Well, see, that was my question.
Have Sully be Drake be the Sully character in this.
That's exactly where my thought just went. Is like when you think of Uncharted, you think of Drake. Listen, I'll take Naughty Dog anywhere, anytime, anyhow. So
it won't be Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog won't make another. Yep.
See, I would want Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
But which is that the direction you wanted to be?
Yes, that's where I would like it
I
to
would
go.
love it. Yeah, keep it in
Or
the family.
I love Lost Legacy, obviously, so I would like it to go in that
Brady,
direction.
I need to play Lost
The nice
Legacy,
part
so.
of the entire Uncharted franchise, I genuinely believe, is you go through these 4 games and you're just like, this shit's gas, and then it's basically the Sony presentation of we have one more thing, and that is Lost Legacy. It is the one more moment where you're just like I didn't play Lost Legacy till 2021. I played Uncharted 4 in like 2017. Yeah. Like having that extra like thing where it's like it's there when you need it. It's like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for you. It's like when I need it, it's there. And going and playing that, I played it, interestingly enough, on stream, and going through that entire journey of Lost Legacy, I'm just like, this game is really fucking good.
Maybe we'll have
It
a
is.
Spoilercast for that one?
Yeah, oh,
we'll
dude.
see.
Oh my God, Brady,
Oh.
say the word.
Alrighty, that was your spoiler cast in 2025 for Uncharted 4, your bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation. The show is made possible and supported by you guys over on Patreon. These are the members at the dearly beloved tier, at the highest tier, and we thank you so much for supporting the show. Charlie W,
Austin L,
Bago Soup,
Calvin M,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
Ryan A,
JC,
Oli,
Jacob D,
Brian VD,
Big Mac,
Zrilix.
The patty cake. Did you hop in with Big Mac early?
Yeah, Big Mac was
Yeah.
mine, and you hopped in.
Oh, my bad.
Keep it rolling, baby.
We just skipped Metal Nate, so Metal Nate.
Oh, there we go. Zrilix,
The patty cake.
Dom,
Holden M,
Joe P.
Shane O,
Colin C,
Brock.
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Alex the Golden.
New Amsterdam,
Master Diz,
Jesse F.
Ponster,
Gloomy,
Bad fella.
Drifter X1, Skirt,
Hope,
Presto, Maverick,
Goops,
J Matt B3.
Ali Benali,
Daniel L,
Michael B.
General G Dog.
Vorpal Matt.
Brian.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.